Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. Islam, Islam, Islam. Want to rise upon the 7. Give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. Want to welcome you to another grand expression, in what we call the late night library sessions. And this one right here definitely came on my dial plate, and I feel it was necessary for me to bring this one forth, so that we can bring some clarity to our family in regards to dealing with the actual teachings of the prophet. Because we want to make sure that our people know what it is that Prophet Noble Drew Ali has brought us as Moors. And so it's been a lot of questions about what the prophet meant about certain things. And so what we would do is in our next few sessions cover the book of Ali. So I want to start with chapter 1, and I'm actually deal with also going into the book of Ali, and I will be including certain information, scientific data, so to speak, to back this particular knowledge. So without further ado and delay, let me go into this. Be sure to let the people know we live again. It's a grand drawing that we had to bring on the manifest. Like, share, and subscribe. All is well. Those who don't see it now see it later. But nevertheless, it's going to be a grand draw. I want to get into some actual measures so our people know exactly what Noble Drew Ali taught, and what he told us as Moors, so that we have a clear conception, of the message that he brought us. So we'll be dealing with the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. And we're going to cover a little ground, not too much, because I don't want to be up like I was last night. But I do want to give this to our family. So I just got a whim to give our people the truth, and it don't make no difference. I love my people, so I don't get tired. It's what I do. I go hard with it, because if I wasn't here right now, I'd be in the books, so it ain't no pressure with me. I'm going to bring this measure forth, and hopefully our family have a little more clarity than they did before. So let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and start presenting this screen right here. I want to make sure that this message is live as well so that our family can get this here. Okay, let's see here real quick. All right. I see we got two among our family here. If you can, share it, family. Make sure that our people can see this. So we're going to answer some questions that our people have about Prophet Noble Drew Ali teachings. Everybody want to question the doctrine, but they really don't know what Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught. They're just going off of what they heard. So we want you to see him in his own words, so to speak, as we bring this a special measure for. Okay, yeah, I see. We definitely live so our people can see us. All right. So let me go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and start going in right now. Let me share my screen. We're going to be featuring the Book of Ali, family. For those who never seen it, you know, this is also a partial of our literature. So just bear down and bear with us, so to speak. So let me give this to you. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, we already got the book up here. And again, this is the Book of Ali, family. Book of Ali. I want to give honors to our chairman for bringing these particular measures forth in the Book of Ali. This is special book deal with the 4 books that Prophet Noble Drew Ali wrote in reference to dealing with the history. And he had a way with bringing measures on the manifest with words that were very powerful to move one. You know, so we're going to give y'all some insight into this because I know most of our people don't know about this. So we'll give you an introduction to it, and then we'll go into the first chapter. That's what we're going to be dealing with tonight, the first chapter. It ain't a whole lot. So again, this is the Book of Ali, the little Book of Ali. And that's 4, it's got 4 chapters, chapter 45, 46, 47, and 48 in the Moorish Holy Quran. The only book written by Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet. Dear readers, welcome to the little book written by Noble Drew Ali. Let me spread this out a little bit so y'all can see it. Make sure y'all see it. And I want to make sure that this whole screen is sharing too before I start reading. Okay, yeah, I see it shared. Okay, dear readers, welcome to the little book as written by Noble Drew Ali. These writings will be featuring a compilation of the original 4 chapters with adept commentaries, personally written by Noble Drew Ali, who was given the high holy name of El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, the last prophet. Many people wonder how he got the name. Well, we done gave that history a few times, so we won't go into that here. But if anybody have a question, we'll definitely open up the floor, and I'm going to open it up early this time for real. But it says, joined with his 4 chapters, he completed the Circle 7 Quran, right? The Circle 7 Quran contains a total of 70 chapters, our Circle 7 Quran. 66 of the 70 were previously written about 2,000 years ago to be read only by he, the 7th angel, Revelation chapter 10. Albeit, the revealing of this pamphlet has been necessitated by nearly a century of misunderstandings, disbeliefs, and cover-ups about the authenticity of Drew Ali's timely ordination into the long line of olive-skinned prophets. It was nothing short of right order. Exactly how Drew Ali prepared a table of freedom before his nation while still in the very presence of their enemy. He later described this phenomenon as I had to go around my elbow to get to my thumb. Also, there's an opening commentary, commonly referred to by many Moorish American scholars as page 3. You are about to read the sacred writings of the 7th angel, recorded for the express salvation of the lost found tribe of Ali, the Moorish people of the Americas and nations of the earth. The enclosed 4 chapters contain the manumission of the fallen sons and daughters of Moorish America. And for the breath of life of millions, it shows them the finale of true freedom, emancipation from ex post facto jurisdiction of Western yoke and laws. All right. And so we see, the measures that are to be covered in this particular book of Ali. We will be dealing with the free national identity of the so-called Negroes, blacks, and colored people. The vine and fig tree of the Moorish Americans, or the Moorish ancient forefathers that was passed down to us, are planted for us, so to speak. The Moorish divine creed is a theocracy, their glorious history and contributions to all nations and the earth. His chartered Moorish Science Temple is limited to every state within the United States. The genealogy of the Moorish ancient forefathers. The Moorish American present status. Moorish prophesies to be the future as guiders for the family of nations. Holy instruction from their prophet. In honor of Noble Drew Ali, this little book of Ali is being revealed to the Moorish and other nations through his number one defender, Dr. Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun Bey, Akhenaten Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun Bey, Swift Angel number one. Want to give honors to our Grand National Chairman of the Moorish American government, our chairman for writing that commentary. And you see right here, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, what he stated, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America to redeem the people from their sinful ways. That's the whole measure of this special drawing. Okay, the little holy book of Noble Drew Ali, Moorish Holy Quran Instructions, chapter 1 through 4, is written by the last prophet. Know thyself and thy Father God Allah. The genealogy of Yehoshua with 18 years of events and life works and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. And these secret lessons are for all those who love Yehoshua, i.e. Jesus, and desire to know about his life works and teachings. Now, don't get this twisted with no biblical Bible thumping, because we ain't talking about that Yehoshua that the European talking about. We talking about a totally different Yehoshua. So again, it says, dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good and peace and happiness for all those that love Yehoshua. Teach, right? Dear mother, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order and your children will learn to love instead of hate. Now, I don't know nobody out here that, wouldn't want to learn to love instead of hate, unless they just hate feel, with sinful ways. But that's another measure. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. As I am a prophet, the servant is worthy of his hire. You can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosed the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights publishing of this pamphlet, 1927. The industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hamathites, Canaanites, who were driven out of the land of Canaan. We're going to touch on some of this tonight for you. That's the whole purpose. It's one of the reasons we're going into the book of Ali. By Yehoshua, and received Joshua, actually, which is another name, aspect, branch out from Yehoshua, and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. In the latter years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called today, or this day, Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. We want you to remember that when it comes to them names right there. By the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. A sacred introduction into the book of Ali. All authority and rights are published in this pamphlet, 1927. Dear readers, be advised, To protect the sovereignty of his ordained people, Noble Drew Ali did not officially register the Holy Quran or any other of his written works under the foreign jurisdiction of the United States Department of Patents and Copyrights. He brought his people everything it takes to save them as a nation and would not enslave them again, albeit he was fully authorized with the sovereign rights to publish the Holy Quran of 1927 without betraying his duty of a prophet to his people. He did preserve these holy and divine laws under his holy name until the Moorish of America could follow his footsteps. And once they became free national citizens under the independence of their own government, right? No nation on earth voluntarily places their national flag, seal, emblem, documents, and other national treasures under the jurisdiction of another government. The Holy Prophet, being more divinely prepared, gave his Moorish the general laws, and then his supreme laws of nation are now being handed down to them. The world is now ready to hear and know the truth, for there is so much wisdom to be learned from the Moorish. By Swift Angel number 125 year AD. According to all ancient and divine records and prophecies fulfilled, Noble Drew Ali was ordained in due time to be the last prophet in these days. But like all holy prophets before him, the last people to recognize their prophet is the very people among whom they were born. This rejection of saviors by the hoi polloi is rarely realized by the suckling nation. Although Noble Drew Ali declared the one free national name, Moorish American, for himself and his people, 100 years after their deliverance in 1913, the Moorish have not fully honored him as their angel. The Little Holy Book of the Last Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Chapter 1. The divine origin of the Asiatic nations. And we'll be going through in this special measure, dealing with a point by point basis, so to speak, as we go through it to break this measure down. First and foremost, as you see here, we have the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. What do we mean by this? You see the number 1 right here, so we can go into the commentary written by our chairman, Divine Origin. The first point of the commentary, when we say holy, we're saying holy beginning, the great God's breath, the infinite cause, sacred source, divine creation, pure activation, hallowed start, godly open, and faithful foundation. Remember that. That's what we mean when we say divine origin of the Asiatic nation. What do we mean? Asiatic. What does Asiatic mean to us? Right here, it means earthbound. State, being, earthbound. First manifest, human or man of hue, God in flesh, mortal. This is our definition of the word Asiatic, for those who don't know. And then nations. What's the definition of the word nation? Free state, natural people, descendant populations, citizens, countries, lands, jural societies, jurisdictional salvation, bloodline, heritage power. So in other words, if we were to look at this demonstration, and put these 3 points together dealing with the divine, Asiatic, and the nation aspect, well, I would say, this is a representation of, the great God's breath, that causeless cause, rootless root, God in flesh, even being mortal, and also heritage power, of a real nation that has a bloodline. That's what we're going to be touching on, tonight. So I want to go into this first ayat right here. The first thing when Prophet Noble Drew Ali come into this special measure, stating, he said, the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, to know of their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans. there's a key when dealing with unity. This word Asiatic seems to pop up for some reason. When he spoke in the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nations, he spoke of this unity, us being the children, of one father provided for by his care, the breast of one mother giving us suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite us. You see what I'm saying? And this has to do with basically in our love to each other. We got to be willing to recognize this is special measure when it comes to learning to love instead of hate. We have to be willing to assist our brothers, and assist our sisters and so forth and so on. You see, and never forsake each other. You see, and this is how, this extended love continues all in our love to each other. See, that's the key. So we must learn to love instead of hate. This is the first thing Prophet Noble Drew Ali began to teach us. Now, I don't know about anybody in their right mind that would think that learning to love instead of hate would be something bad for you. You know what I mean? If you think that it's wrong to learn and love instead of hate, then something wrong with you. You see? We must learn to love instead of hate. We got to learn to love ourselves first and foremost before we can love anybody outside of the self. But you can't love what you don't know. You see what I'm saying? And we also have to learn to know our higher self and lower self. We have to know, our breaking point, our limitations, how far we willing to go, and also know, our limitations in every aspect of life. You know what I mean? What ground to tread on, what ground to not tread on. And this all has to do with knowing your higher self and lower self. I don't know nobody, that wouldn't have, in their right mind, wouldn't have a problem. I don't know nobody who would have a problem getting to know their higher self and their lower self. I don't see no issue with it. We should all learn our higher self. That's what our teaching's about. We're not here to browbeat our people with the truth and condemn them to hell, or talk down on them because of their condition. We just tell our people, learn your higher self and your lower self. Know yourself. That's simple teaching. That go right back to ancient Kemet. In ancient Kemet, the higher self and the lower self is referred to in the doctrine of Samaya Tawi. You see, where you see Heru and Set, being depicted. And they are tied. They have a cord in their hand, so to speak. A twisted rope, so to speak. So anyway, they say this is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans. So this is our sole goal. That's why when you hear us teaching the way we teach, we don't teach like the Arabs teach. We ain't trying to Arabize you. We ain't here to Arabize you. And we don't say that because we hate Arabs. We saying they got their way and we have ours. We done proved that in the last couple of shows, that you've seen, in broadcasts and presentations, so now it should be easy for our family to get it. At least those who have been viewing that's watching me or will be watching me later, because I don't know how many people, are checked in right now. I'm looking at this document and I'm going to check in a minute because this ain't real long, this document here. And I really want to open up the floor so we can have some convo on this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the commentary here, and I deal with 4, 5, and all of them, 6, 7, and 8. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America. Who is that? A lot of people get upset when they hear that name Asiatic, but we know it means earthbound. It ain't no sweat. So the Moorish descendants of West Africa and other sun-kissed indigenous inhabitants of the Americas. That is including all of our people who are indigenous. Moorish descendants of West Africa. That's talking about us, family. Y'all think it's a game? Y'all gonna know. And I'm talking to the ones that's naysayers, not the people that faithfully look at this and they learn from it. But those who will see this, we're gonna show you that these are indeed the Moorish descendants of West Africa and other sun-kissed indigenous inhabitants of the Americas. because we was here and there, truth be told. Some of us was here and some of us was there. You see? But we indigenous to the planet. Make no mistake about it. Everywhere you find civilization, we was there first. That ain't something just being said. We can prove that. We have archaeological evidence to prove it. You know, we have anthropological evidence to prove it. You know, we have pictorial information to prove it. We have, you know, records to prove that we were all over the planet simultaneously. We was everybody, mom and daddy, the melanated people. That's what I'm saying. If you don't believe that right there, something wrong with you. Somebody done told you wrong, and you might be a victim of what they call the Hermetic hypothesis. Right? So let's go back up here so our family can follow us. Again, now that we cover who the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America is, now need to learn to love instead of hate and learn your higher self instead of your lower self. Well, what does that mean? Man must come to know the illusions of his fall, because he had to fall from his higher self into his lower self, right? So he must come to know the illusions of his fall before reason will resolve the dormant God within. See, we don't teach spookism. We trying to wake the God man up in you. So nobody can never charge us with teaching you about a spook God. Nobody can ever charge us with teaching you about a God that, you know, is far distant and away and ain't got nothing to do with your affairs. No, he here, there, and everywhere. And he is in you. He works through man as well as a woman. So he has no problem when it comes to dealing with gender. His power is equal in the woman as it is in the man. You see? So this is the key. We're trying to bring that out of each other. We come out of the lower self, we can get into the higher self, and we resolve the dormant God within. We tap into that energy, family. That's how it go. Let's go to the next line here. You got to know all this before we get to talk about everything else. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. And I'll cover the last two together. So what is he saying? This is the true transliterations of the ancient Comedian holy instructions as originally taught to all prophets, angels, and masterminds now being realized in the West. Honors to my chairman for always pointing out that everybody got their teaching from Kemet. Either they went into Kemet or some adept, a master teacher, a mastermind came out of Kemet bringing those teaching to whoever it is that received them. That's big facts. Anybody that know history and study history know that to be a fact. The Moorish peoples of the Americas are now being united as faithful Muslims, not Muslims. There's a difference between a Muslim and a Muslim. Nothing wrong with being a Muslim if that's what you is, but we Muslims over here. And what is a Muslim to us? A Muslim is one who is the will of the great God Allah. A Muslim submits to the will, but a Muslim is the will of Allah. That's the difference between the two terms, family. Muslims, again, submit to the will of Allah, and Muslims are the will of Allah. You got it? So upon the straight way, by following the Prophet and others whose portion is not wrath and have not gone astray, the true teachings of ancient Kemet is the real uniting of the Holy Quran and instruction to the Moorish Americans. The true teachings of Kemet is the real uniting of the Holy Quran and instruction of the Moorish Americans. So we letting you know that Kemet is the root of the truth that we teach it. We know all of them books, be it, you know, what they call the Torah, you know, the Book of Psalms, the Injil, however you want to go. All of them indirectly come forth from Kemet. Some are referred to as sun books. Some are referred to as lunar or moon books, star books, you know, whatever terminology you want to put on it. But the true teachings of ancient Kemet is the real uniting of the Holy Quran and holy instruction to the Moorish Americans. So that's how we teach. You see, when we teach what we teach, we come with the ancient teaching. You ain't gonna get this from no other group. Calling themselves Muslims or Muslims, being Negro, or even if they call themselves Black Muslim, they ain't gonna bring Kemet to you like we bringing it to you. This is a part of our paradigm. We don't make this stuff up as we go. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the Egyptian adept master. So we follow in his footsteps. So let us come here. Wait a minute. Let me make sure. Because I may have another this one right here. I was supposed to give y'all this commentary actually at 8. All Moorish Americans must be taught, instructed, and guided by the blessed Moorish Americans on how to be Moorish Americans. And that's what my duty is, to teach my people what a Moorish American is. So nobody else can come to you and tell you, a lie about what a Moorish American is. I've been giving up enough history, and those who've been following me, by now they know who the Moors are. And for those who don't know, you will know. If Moorish American knows he must be the Moorish American, he knows. So whatever you know, you got to be what you know. Whatever message that you bear witness to, you got to be the message that you bring. Otherwise, he simply guesses he is a Moorish American. So all the studying that I've done to prove who the Moors are, I did that because I ain't one to be guessing that I'm a Moorish American. I'm one to know that I'm a Moorish American Muslim. So I study, as they say in the Piscean records, to show myself approval. So let me see. Okay, we got our family checked in. Peace to the brother Terrence the Great. We give honors to your family. I'm gonna drop this link early tonight because this ain't a long chapter right here. This is a short chapter. We want to just cover some ground, family, and let our people know what's going on. Let me get back to the book though. So let's get into it. These are Prophet Noble Drew Ali teachings. The brother was before his time. Regardless of what y'all may see from the outside looking in, not understanding what he brought, you gonna learn tonight. So the key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moorish. Now the hand is symbolic to the mind. We always say due to its ability to shape, mold, obtain, and retain and obtain. The hand is symbolic to the mind, family. So the key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca. One of the most controversial statements to those who don't know no better. What do we mean when we say this? We finna get into it in a minute. And we're gonna also use scientific method as far as when it comes to dealing with DNA, to bite up what we talking about so that our people can have some clarity. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nation. What are we saying? Let's go to the commentary real quick because we're getting into it now. To be civil is to be conscious of one's status and natural law. Many of our people are not civil because they're not conscious of their status and the natural law under which they're born. They think that man makes law and they got to obey man or else. And that's why they have a problem when they hear the term obey. But obey really means to govern yourself. The word bay means governor. So obey means to govern yourself, and you ain't got to worry about now another man checking you. You ain't got to worry about another man's son in you. You ain't got to worry about another man enslaving you. You see? The key to civilization has always been the 5 high free national principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Who can be opposed to that? Simple. If we can just live those principles, we don't need no other doctrine outside of learning how to love, outside of being truthful, outside of being peaceful, demonstrating freedom and justice. But no, most of our people want to demonstrate in retrospect, in opposition to what love is. They want to hate. Instead of dealing with truth, they want to deal with truth and falsehood, strangely mixed, or falsehood as it is. Instead of dealing with peace, they want a war. They want to go back and forth with each other in conflict. Instead of freedom, they choose bondage in a state of ignorance because they are accepting names that delude to slavery. And they believe that these names attach them to something. And we keep telling them, no, these names represent people that are property. So our people have become victims of what we call racialization. And racialization has to do with when people try to choose adjectives as being their nationality. 1 minute you're Negro, the next minute you're Black, the next minute you colored, next minute you African American, next minute you don't know what type of American you is. Next minute, oh, I'm an African descendant of slaves. Next minute, oh, let's drop the African American descendant of a slave. Make up your mind. We're the only people that change nationalities like people change clothes. We got to be strong when we speak and say this, family. We can't beat around the bush. The times are too hectic. You know, we in some trying times, so we ain't got time to be tiptoeing through no tulips and trying not to hurt nobody's feelings. Because whether we tell the truth in a passive way or aggressive way, our people gonna do what they gonna do anyway. If it ain't meant for you to get it, you just ain't gonna get it. If it's meant for you to continue moving in that aspect of thinking you know everything and you gonna go astray because you think what you know is better than what somebody else know, keep up with that. So I'm speaking to the one that want to learn something. I'm speaking to the one that want to unite. I'm speaking to the one that want to demonstrate love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. This is not just philosophizing and talking just for the sake of talking and being heard. We seeking action out of our people to come together in unity and build. We're not here to philosophize and see who got the best oratory skills. That ain't what one here demonstrating. This is a trying time, family. But anyway, let us move on. Principles set the natural standards for the harmonies of life, right order, and God and man to reign. So these principles are natural to us. It's natural to love people. It's natural to be truthful. It's natural to want peace, freedom, justice. This is natural. Nothing wrong with that. If somebody tell you something wrong with a man teaching you that, something is wrong with that individual, and you need to check that individual. If they think something wrong with a man that came and died because he was teaching these principles, gave his life because he was teaching these principles, if somebody thinks something wrong with that right there, something is really wrong with them. So a lot of people spin the narrative and accept the narrative, that has been given to them, and they only regurgitate and repeat what somebody else said, and they don't even know about nothing that Prophet Noble Drew Ali actual taught. This is what attracts us to the teachings, because we want some love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You should too. So the principles set the natural standards for harmonies of life, right order, and God in man to reign. Man is the 5-pointed open star. Yeah, that's why we represent that green, that 5-pointed open green star. 360 degrees, 72 degrees between each point, functioning with maximum efficiency. That's you, God man. That's you, God woman. Ain't no gender wars going on over here. Next point in the commentary. In circles of science, the hand or hand clasp of unity has been used as symbolic instruments to represent the mind and thought patterns of man. This is because the miraculous usages and the abilities of the hand are equated with the attributes of the mind to grasp, shape, and retain. The actions of the mind are often taught in lessons referring to the souls of men, because the souls of man in action has to do with thinking, willing, reasoning, understanding, and remembrance. That's what we teach. The keys are in the minds of the Moorish. What's wrong with that teaching? We ain't telling you that the keys in somebody else's mind and they got to free you. We saying the keys in your own mind and you have the ability to free yourself. This ain't no slave making doctrine over here. We teaching you to be the God that you are. Who don't want to be divine? Who don't want to link themselves back up with divinity? And you ain't got to have nobody standing over you, bullet pit preaching to you. We just informing our people, because our duty is to teach our people their nationality and the divine creed. Well, I'm giving you some of the divine creed and the nationality right now. That's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this is a divine and national movement. He didn't say it was a church. He didn't say it was a mosque. He didn't say it was a synagogue. A temple is a place of instruction. So in other words, we don't even have to go into a building. You are the temple of perfection. You learn your lesson well every day if you learn from the experiences of life that you stumble upon. So we teaching you to go within. We ain't teaching you to worship no mystery God. And anybody teach you that, they're a liar. You see, we teaching you one with the great God. So let's go further. This is where the controversy come in. Who were the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city Mecca? Who were the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca? Watch this. Let's go down here first to the commentary. Notice what it states. The modern name for the first physical man, often prefixed by the prophet Drew Ali by the word ancient. So you got to know what ancient means first. Used before free national names of Lemurians, the people of Mu, Atlanteans, Amexamites, Ancient Ones, Adamites, Asiatics, Moabites, Hamathites, and Canaanites. The Moorish, not to be confused with Morocco. We don't teach that doctrine over here. It's a difference between the Moors and the Moroccans. In fact, the Moroccans were the one that participated in the enslavement of the Moors, and they still participating in it. The Al-Bidan, y'all heard me talk about them. It's the so-called Moroccans, which are really not Moroccans. They actually Zionists. The ones that's over now because the original Moroccans were actually exiled from the place that is modern day known as Morocco. The original people that was in Morocco, they are not there, and their leadership is of Zionists. But that's a whole nother teaching. If you go to my website, I got a whole breakdown on what took place with Morocco. And we can go into that if somebody have a question about it later. And I'll show you in my website the history, that deals with. So we're not those who out here teaching that the Moors are Moroccans. We don't teach that doctrine. Not over here. We can't tell you about nobody else because Moroccans helped enslave us. And that's why I keep telling you, you got to know the difference between the Moors and the Moroccans. You have Moors that was in Morocco, but Moroccans in and of themselves are not the Moors. They're basically Bedouin Arabs. And some of them got Jew blood in them. But that's a whole nother measure. We'll get to that later. The Moorish, not to be confused with Morocco, are founders of the Western Dominion of Kemet. The Moors are the founders of the Western Dominion of Kemet, because Morocco was called the Kemet of the West. We the founders of that original empire before they got there. You think it's a game? Who do you think the Fatimids were? Who do you think the Almoravids were? These were our people. They founded that particular empire before we get up into the time where we deal with the Alawite dynasty and those who claim that they're under a kingdom now. When we ruled the empire, we had sultans. That's why we asked the question in our questionnaire, what's the name of our rule in the East? Well, if you notice now, They are no longer sultans because the leadership that's presently there sold out a long time ago. And now they accept titles such as king. And so it is when you go to places like the Sultan of Zanzibar. So it is when you go to places like the Ottoman Empire, who also basically allowed their sultanate to be overthrown. You know, and the caliphates were overthrown. And now you have people trying to rule on the Islamic doctrine and push it according to a Eurocentric thought pattern. And that's why they're catching hell right now, as we speak. That's why they're in conflict right now. But anyway, again, the Moorish, not to be confused with Morocco, are found as a western dominion of Kemet, e.g. Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, Nigeria, Ghana, and the rest of the northwest and southwest shores of Africa. Our ancient ancestors were the founders of these places before they became known as they are known today. See, we got to stop looking at what's going on today and respecting the past, disrespecting, the pre-colonial history. And so it's now time to decolonize our hearts and minds from these attachments that have to do with ignorance of knowing our own history. We was gods and goddesses, family. We became, as they like to call them, kings and queens recently. We didn't use them type of titles. We were known as sultans, and our sisters were known as sultanesses, or sultana, so to speak. You see? But that's a whole nother measure. So, knowing this information here, and notice all the names that the chairman gave here. He said, by the word ancient, before free national names of Lemurians, the Elmarians, yes, they were a people. We got information out here. We done demonstrated this online a couple of times, especially recently. We just had a measure dealing with the Lemurians and the people of Mu and the Atlanteans and the concept of the Mexamites, which a lot of people don't know. This is just two different points in Africa, but it covers the whole land because most of the civilization spawned off from the Cushites and the Kemites. The Kemites that migrated into the West, the same Kemites that our brother G.M. James referred to, and that became the Moors. So these were your Mexamites in Southwest and Northwest Africa, and your Mexamites in Southeast and Northeast Africa were your Cushites. Still the same people. It was these people who built kingdoms and civilizations prior to your pale Moroccan, prior to your pale Algerian, prior to your pale Tunisian, prior to your pale descendant of Tripoli, and your pale Nigerian, your pale Ghanaian. You got to know this. We don't say this right here because we hate them people. We telling you this to tell you the truth. We was there before they were there. You got to get it, family. In fact, I don't even be upset. People be like, oh, they enslaved us for over 400, 500 years. Okay, but we've been ruling the planet how long before that? That ain't even an increment of time in the amount of time that we have been ruling the planet. We getting ready to rule it again. If we come together, everything around us is collapsing, family. So right now, our people should be positioning themselves. They should be training themselves to get ready to rule again. The Most High trying to put it in your hand, family, even in the Piscean records. It say the people were destroyed for a lack of knowledge, but what it is that people destroyed for a lack of truth, because there's plenty of knowledge out here. Knowledge all over the place. We're in the age of information. But if you are not able to apply what it is that you simply regurgitate, purposely, having no sense of direction of what it is that you truly want to do. We're not put here just to amass a bunch of books and a bunch of information to say, I know this, or I know that. You got to put it to use. That's why I'm up here demonstrating, so we can put this to use. I know everybody ain't going to agree. I know everybody ain't going to accept it because they've been indoctrinated with hatred. It ain't that big. They've been indoctrinated with other doctrines. They've been indoctrinated with hatred for themselves. So they can't see themselves at one time as being the rulers of civilization. They can't see themselves as being the executive rulers, being able to govern their own affairs, because all they know is slavery being over here in the West. So they think that that's their reality. So they always got an excuse, man, them people ain't gonna let you build no government. We can't do that. How we gonna do that? We need to have some military. We need to... Foolishness. Excuses is what it is. I'm thanks for sharing though, because when people make that type of mindset, it let me know what I'm dealing with. It's almost like back in the day when one got in the whip for the lick, and you hear somebody talking all that noise. You know, we get caught, we go into jail. We already know what need to be done to you, because you already showed the weakness of who you really are. You ain't one of us. You ain't cut from the cloth. So either you're going to sink or you're going to swim. Let's put it that way. So let me keep it moving. Right? Let's go back up here. Again, we see now who the ancient Moabites are, the founders of the holy city of Mecca. What is the real history of behind the Moabites, as Noble Drew Ali taught it? I'm going to go right here because it's best to do it this way. Hold up. Okay. Take you in here so y'all know what we mean when we say what we say. Here we go right here. You see this right here? What was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess, right? What is the modern name for Moabites? Moroccans. Where's the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexum. What is the modern name for Mexum? Africa. What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco? Sultan. These questions and answers right here explain everything that's meant to be known when it comes to knowing what a Moabite is. And I'm going to show you who the Moabites are in a minute. I'm going to show you pictorially who the Moabites are. And these Moabites are the original founders of the Moroccan Empire, and they are the original founders, also of a few more empires. You see, a Mexum is the ancient name that we use. When you see Oxum and Axum, we're talking about Exum. It really has to do with being divine rulers of the land of the gods, the rulers. That's the real aspect of dealing with the concept of a Mexum, right? So let's go into who the Moabites are. We're not talking about no biblical Moabites in the sense that people have been taught. We're talking about the ancient Moabites who migrated into what we call Northwest Africa. So now you say, well, how you going to prove that, Brother Commission? Show me that the Moabites migrated over into Northwest Africa. Because you making bold claims, brother. I'm going to show you this. And what you do with it is on you after that. Now, the people that are known as Moabites people are the descendants of the Moabites. They are known as the Banu Mazab. They use the term Berber. We know that's a misnomer. Manzab in the natural region of Sahara in Algeria, numbering about 150,000 to 300,000 people. They speak primarily the Mozabite language of Zenati languages in the Berber branch of the Afro-Asiatic family. Who is that? Mozabites are primarily Ibadi Muslims, but there was a small population of Jews as well. These are your Sephardims. These are what you called your Philocias, who also went into Spain at a particular time. So the Mozabites mainly live in 5 oases, namely Gardea, Beni Iskin, El Atuf, Malika, and Banura, as well as 2 other isolated oases further north. Now, the key of understanding that the Mozabites and the Moabites are the same people, if you go into the history, they'll actually tell you that the name Moabite is often used. And I'm going to show them to you in a minute. I'm going to show you who the Mozabites are. These are basically the indigenous people to this area. You see? And this is where I'm finna get you at when it comes to dealing with this DNA. See that say E1B1A? Yeah. Why DNA haplogroup? We're going to get into that in a second. But let me show you first, again, who the Mozabites are. Let's go a little deeper. And remember, in every region, they have what you call the Al-Bidan, and they have the indigenous Moabites. That's who we talking about. We ain't talking about no pale skin Europeans and none of that. We talking about the original Moabites and Mozabites. The unmixed Mozabite Berbers, like these right here. You see them? These the indigenous Mozabites that we talking about, family. Them one right there. Huh? We ain't even got to get into the dynamic of the Al-Bidan, Abadan, and also go to talking about, the white Arabs, because y'all already know what time it is. That dynamic exists all over the place. In most cases, they the ones that's actually enslaving the darker skinned Moabites or Mozabites. Big facts. I'm trying to find the other measure. This is one right here. Mozabite Berbers are 80% African. I'm showing you the real people. When it say indigenous Berbers, it's talking about the Mozabite family. That means they was the first, not them Arabs. Not them Arabs, family. The original Mozabites. And these Mozabites are Moabites. Same people. Same people, family. These are the same people that are known as Moors as well. We can't make this stuff up. We can't make it up. I want to give honor to our brother Ivan Van Sertman and sister Dana Reynolds, who speak about these things when we deal with the golden age of the Moor. That's what the original Mozabites look like. Algerians. So that's one aspect of it. So when we go back to what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said in the book of Ali, and we go into the actual breakdown of this, then it becomes plain to you. But the main thing I need to show y'all right now is this. So y'all don't think we just reaching. You see, these people, again, that are known as the Mozabites are descendants of the ancient Carthaginians. They are descendants, some of them, of the ancient Canaanites, are what they call Canana in ancient Comedian language, which was also a seed of Ham. You see, these are the same people, family. Hold up real quick. I'm trying to find the, I want to show y'all the definition by word. I'm going to do it this way right here, because this is the best way to do it. And I told y'all this is where you get your information right here from. Every book has a bibliography that go back to ancient times. And it's on us to go and do our own research. It's easy. Watch this. And this is just what I'm searching for. This is from 1854. Right here, right? The tricolor of the Atlas, Algeria, right? Let me blow this up real quick. This random. I already know the information is there because I got a lot of this in my archives. You see what this says? The Moabites, the Beni Mazab, it says, are as yet little known, but they are from their character and manners very interesting people inhabiting the oasis of the Sahara. A few hundreds of them have settled in Algeria. Their origin is very uncertain, but several hypotheses have been advanced, any of which may be correct, right? And they go into all the history, about the possibilities that they go into. According to their own tradition, their ancestors did not always dwell in the desert, but many years back they inhabited the mountainous country far to the east, from whence a blue sea could be seen. Watch this. Leo Africanus, a learned Moorish author converted to Christianity, who lived in the 16th century, tell us that the Canaanites, expelled by Joshua, immigrated to Africa and settled there. Now you understand when Noble Drew Ali said they were given permission by the pharaohs. When he made that statement, when he mentioned that, that's the history of the Canaanites being expelled and also going into that. These are the same people where I keep telling our Israelite family until they acknowledge that they are the Canaanites, they ain't going to be able to prove that they Israelites. And the reason they don't want to accept that because the biblical narrative tell them Canaan was cursed. That came from Jewish propaganda. That was superimposed into the doctrine by them. The Most High didn't reveal that foolishness they be talking, but that's why Hebrew Israelites don't want to accept that, But if you was given the promised land, you became the Canaanites. But these Canaanites, were also known being close with the Moabites as well, being the same people. That's why they had the same language. In the language they had, they claimed that Proto-Canaanite language, Proto-Moabite language. What that language look like? You seen the Moabite stone before? I'm going to show you in a minute. The same author says that Malik Afriki, several centuries later, headed a large immigration of Sabian Arabs to Africa. You know what they talking about when they say Sabian Arabs? Those are pre-Islamic or pre-Meccan or Saudi Arabian Cushites. Anytime they talking about the original Sabians of Africa, they talking about us. Who else in Africa? And it is a singular that the Jews seem likewise to believe in the double immigration of Asiatic nations to Barbary. So they left out of the Canaan region and went into the Berber region, as they like to call it. We don't use that term. We know that's a misnomer. But for those who think that they call themselves Berber, we'll say it for you. So up to the present day, they call the Kabyles, Palestines, and Philistines, identifying them with the enemies of old in Canaan. And their rabbis believe that the Moabites are descendants of the Moabites. The ancient neighbors of Israel, the offspring of Moab, son of Lot. Their language is different from the Kabyles. It says, but it is said that there exists some affinity between them. The immigration of Moab to Africa is explained by the persecutions of that tribe in the latter time of the Hebrew monarchy. It is a singular that there is still a trading among the Arabs of the incestuous origin of the Moabites. It says, which subjects them to many joke and many sneer. It's really not the Moabites, it's really them Bedouin Arabs over there. And we getting the rap for it because they over there amongst us. So the biblical Semitic names Ben Serum, Ben Elam, Ben Selef, Ben Joab are often found among them. and the peculiar inclusion of the Moabites from the mosques of Algiers, though they are Mohammedans, reminds us of the old law of the Hebrews, which excluded Moab from the community of God. It says all particulars known about modern Moabites or Beni Moab are based on oral communications of the renegade Bedouin. See, them same so-called white Moors, the fake ones, whom I found still resident in Algiers in 1836. So they go all the way on into this measure. So we already see the same thing Noble Drew Ali said about, the Canaanites, migrating into Africa, the concept about Joshua, giving, expelling them and them giving the permission, so to speak, to establish themselves in Africa. It's right here in this book, right here. You can see that, right? Let's go to the next one right here and see what they say. Because everything dealing with them going to come up. Here it is again. Let me blow this up right here for the family. The religion of the Moabites was the cause of offense to the Warregulars, pardon self. And the immigrants were so harassed that they sent out scouts to spy on another land in which they could dwell in peace. They found still far to the south in the rugged mountain region surrounded by Algerian desert of the Great Sahara, secure from the attacks of the Arab and the Tauric cavalry, they have dwelt for nearly 900 years, irrigating their land and drawing it from it necessities of life, building houses and cities, founding their snug little republic. They afterwards extended their republic both to the north and southwest. The Moabites hold the Jews in as great contempt as they held by the Arabs, because the Jews, the ones that they call Ashkenazis and all them ones over there acting like they so-called Israelites, the pale ones, these the ones that's over there enslaving them, the same people that ran the Moroccans out of Morocco. That's what they do. That's why they're going to war right now, for the same reason. It says, and where the Hebrews have settled in the cities of their republic, they are strictly confined to their own quarters. It says the great cause of this animosity is found in the assertion which the Jews have made for ages, that the Moabites are the Moabites who conquered Israel, and in turn by the Babylonians, it says, whom they assisted to subdue Palestine, who worshippers of Baal. So those who claim to be Jews and are not the Zionists use that as an excuse to go against our people that are known as the Moabites. We can't make this stuff up. We cannot make this stuff up. It's in the books. This stuff been going on. That's 1888. That's crazy. And if you want to go in here, you can find the books on the subject over and over and over and over again. This is a whole bunch of catalog. They say, where the sources at? Here they go. I just showed you how to go to them. And you can go do all the research you want to, family. And you're going to find exactly what I'm just showing you. So when I be clipping this stuff out and cropping it out, it come from somewhere. Look at all this. But we ain't got to look at what's being read and just what's being said. All we got to do is go right back to what I was showing you earlier. When I was showing you the pictures of who these people is, the original Moabites. Once you understand that right there, family, and we got a whole bunch of, like when you go really into the rabbit hole, I'm going to show you something. I want to go into the area before. I'm going to show you something real quick. When you go deep, you got to dig deep for it, family, to find our people, because they done mixed up so much with our people. You see? You see what that say right there? Group the Moabites. See that? All them melanated Moabites right there, family. All them melanated Moabites. And this is during the 1800s. That's Algeria. Same area. All you got to do is keep going in there. And so problem is our people, they so ignorant, they want to pick out the pale skinned people and say that's the people who they really know they ain't. They just told you the indigenous Moabites is our people. So that kill all that nonsense that people try to make up. Stop it. You see? We know that it's lighter and pale skinned people living amongst our people all over the world, just like they living over here. Can people say that we white Americans because we got white Americans over here and they call themselves Americans? That's how ignorant we look when we do stuff like that. We got to stop that because we have hatred toward the Moors. You know what I mean? People say anything to try to make the Moors look bad because they got hatred. They don't even know why they hate the Moors. They enslaved their people. Fool, it wasn't the Moors that did it. It was the Moroccans that enslaved the Moors. How many times do I have to say that? Excuse me, family. I ain't speaking to our family out here that's listening in to hear this information. I'm talking about the ignoramuses that continue to go in opposition to our people. You see? So let me move back to the book of Ali. So now that we know when we deal with who we call the ancient Moabites as being our people, they were known in Kemet as Mu'abba. The original word, Kemetically, they are referred to as Mu'abba. You see, and I said I was going to show y'all the language too, so that our people know. And this is why I said our Hebrew family got to stop, being prejudiced against their roots and accept, where they really come from. Hold up real quick. I'm going to show you real quick. Let's see. And I'm going to go into the works of some of our scholars in a minute too. This is called the Mesha Stele family. You've seen this many a time, so I don't really have to go into the history. This is the Moabite stone. The Mesha Stele. Moabite language. Canaanite inscriptions on it, family. Paleo-Hebrew script is what they call it, which is also a variant of the Phoenician alphabet. All of that is Cushitic. See that right there, the Paleo-Hebrew right there? Because it's Canaanite language. That's why they call it Proto-Canaanite. See? The predecessor script. You see? Proto-Canaanite. In the Proto-Canaanite script is where they get their little pictorial demonstration from. You see? We got our breakdowns on this. But they pictorial different from your boy Champollion. So who right? Because they got some of the same symbol, but they say they mean different things. All I ever know about alphabet charts, if a letter A was the letter A, it's the letter A. It ain't going to be G over here and then turn into a D over there. Unless you're dealing with some sound shifting, and D don't sound shift with G. But that's the type of stuff they do. You know what I mean? So that's just looking at the script itself. So that lets you know the people that's calling themselves Israelites in this era and time, they really have Canaanite roots when being connected to the promised land, if they believe that. But that's a whole nother measure. So anyway, in the next portion here, after saying that, the Moors, who were the ancient Moabites and founders of the holy city of Mecca, how can we say that? Because they say, well, the Moors came forth recently. How they going to be founders of the holy city of Mecca? Because when we use the word Moorish, we use the word Moorish like y'all use the word black. You see? Just like y'all apply it as a generic term to every civilization that come on the manifest, that's how we use the term Moorish. Because Moorish was the term that they was using before they started using the word black. But that's a whole nother measure. So anyway, the Egyptians, who were the Hammatites and of a direct descendant of Mizraim, the Arabians, the seed of Hajar, the Japanese, and Chinese. Listen to it now. He calling them all out. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali said the Egyptians too, who were the Hammatites. Listen to what he say. Let's go into the commentary. 13, real quick. Our chairman said Egypt was Kemet, in Arabic Kimi or Kimi, a nickname Rahab. Syria was Aram, Arabia was Havilah, Iran was Persia, also Elam. Joktan was southern Havilah. Spain was Tarshish. Ethiopia was Abyssinia. You see, chairman was on point. He gonna give you a rundown on the etymology and the nation. See, we go into that type of stuff. We don't just skim over this stuff and reap in a scanty way. We got to go in depth with you when we talk about this, because we know you're gonna think what you chose to think that's outside of the pale of what we thinking. If we don't give you the exact and what it is, anybody that know etymology and study language know he right in that commentary. So he say, who were the Hamatites? Hamatite is another way of just saying Kamites. The H is a corruption of the K. In other words, it's like saying Kamites. But Prophet Noble Drew Ali said Kamites, of a direct descendant of Misraim. You see, Mesra is the right way that you say that. Ra-Mesu. Misraim is a corruption of the word Mesra, Misraim. That's the Proto-Canaanite, Proto-Sinaitic way of saying it. You see? He's mentioning all of these different people, though, for a reason. He goes on Egyptians, again, who were the Hamatites, of a direct descendant of Misraim, the Arabians, the seed of Hajar, the Japanese and Chinese, the Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, also the Hittites, which are the Ketites, or the Keta, according to the Kemetic language. The Kanana is the word they use in the Kemetic language for Canaanites, another son of Cam. It says in the Mu'aba, the Moabites, from the land of Canaan. So this is how the Moabites are connected to the Kanana, the land of the Kanana, who was of Kemetic lineage, according to the doctrine that these names are mentioned in. Cam, or as they like to call him biblically, Ham, is the father of Cush, the father of Misraim, the father of Put, the father of Kanana. So that will make all four of his sons basically of the Kemetic stock, so to speak. Though they use Hamitic, if you go into the Hebrew, the word is actually Kemetic. It's spelled C-H-A-M in the Hebrew language. You see? Get it right, people. If you don't know the language, you're going to go, yeah, no Ham in it. Ham is a corruption of Cam. Stop it. So the Asiatic nations and countries in North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans, in North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, natives of San Salvador, in Central America, all of these are Muslims. Why did Noble Drew Ali say that? Was there validity behind the statement that he was making? Why did he say they all were Muslims? My question is, where did he get this information from during that era in time? Because he was so on point. We finna show it to you in a minute too. It says the Turks are the true descendants of Hagar. That's a fact. That's a fact. We know that. We know this to be a fact, that the Turks descend from the Egyptian lineage as well. Indirect. They were known as the Keta, the original Turks, before the modern Turks, because there were some original Turks that was there. And we know this because your boy paid homage to the Turks. And they whitewashed him too, made him pale skinned too. But I'm going to show you who I'm talking about. The Lord of Two Horns, August Khan. I'm trying to pull this thing up real quick. Okay. All them whitewashed pictures. August Khan, the real picture of August Khan, right there. And it ain't even a picture, it's the statue of Aga Khan. It's melanated as ever. And it's something that is special about Aga Khan that shows you he honored his Kemetic measure here. You see that? See that head dress he got on right there? You see that on his belt? That's a cow. That's the head dress in ancient Kemet with the sun disc and the horns on it. He was true to his Kemetic roots, family. I'm telling you, Aga Khan, most definitely. I got pictures where he actually had the sun disc of Kemet that he was dimming. That's the one that actually roped them off in the Caucasus Mountain in Surah 18 of the Quran. Aga Khan did that. And a lot of their symbols, I'm telling you, are most definitely connected to Kemet. You know? And he was most definitely not a pale-skinned Turk that you see of this new era in time. I'm trying to find that other picture that goes in there because he got a couple of different other pictures that go further into. That's why they call him the Lord of Two Horns. I'm trying to find. See, keep that scimitar on him though. Where is that? Where in the world is it at? Trying to find it. Okay, I'll do it like this right here. Let me see. I may be able to find it this way. Okay, those some of the seals right there. Let's see if it bring it up there. They still ain't bringing it up. There's a couple of them off in here. Where is that thing at? We gonna find it. Okay, it'll probably be in this group here. Okay. Yeah. Right here. And they had different tribes that was mentioned in here. But they have all these different symbols here, family. And all these symbols, they were basically tribes. You know, it was different groups of these tribes, you know, among the Turks. And in most of them, I'm trying to find the green seal, the other green seal, not this one right here. It represents the original one they had. See, all these represent their language and their alphabet that they have on there, which look like what they call the runic script. The Yazir, all these represent different tribes over there. But they have one that actually has the pyramid and the Ankh on it. That's the one I'm looking for. I actually have it in my page. I can show it to you. Let me see here. Let's see. I can go right here and probably find it better. This, if I can't go nowhere else, I can always go to my archive. Let's see if it'll let me pull it up. Let's see. Did I spell it with O? I always spell it with H, but I do spell it with O sometimes. Let me see if they give it to us. They still ain't giving it to me. You can let me go in there and do it. You know what? Well, I do it this way. More than one way to skin a cat. We ain't skinning him to eat him, though. Okay. So let me go right here, going on into my photos. Because I see they're going to be stubborn today. Let's go down in here real quick. It ain't that far. I got a couple of them in here with it. I want to show y'all this so that y'all will know it. They be hiding this stuff, family. That's why I put a lot of it right here so I can always go to it. If I can't go nowhere else, I can go back to my archives over here. Some of y'all already seen some of this here. But this is for those who don't know and who haven't seen this. This is for your information, FYI. Like I said, I use this right here for straight teaching. That's what I use my Facebook page for. I don't be on there posting nothing else but straight teaching. So if you want to go Well, I actually got so many friends, I can't even add nobody else on there right now. I was finna say friend, but I got like over 5,000 followers. I'm gonna probably get rid of some people though, cause they're just taking up space. Some people. That way, I can make room for other people. And I got a lot of my little documents right up in here. You know, some of the same stuff I build on, but some stuff I haven't took out of here and put it in my other archives. But you can come in here and get a wealth of information though. Powerful information I got up in here. There you go, right there. This is the one I'm talking about right here. And this is where I was telling you that he was up under the sun disk. So he knowed his Kemetic roots. That's August Khan right there, basking under the Aten disk. And if you look right here, this is the Emur symbol, you know, with the Ankh, the crescent, and the pyramid on it. You know what I mean? They go the same demonstration with the horns because he was Reverend Het-Heru. He was Reverend Het-Heru, or some people call her Hathor, you know, which in some measures they would say that is really Hagar or Hajar, you see? And so when the prophet said that, you know, the Turks are a descendant of Hagar, you know, chief protector of Islamism, the first religious creed of Mecca, he was a chief protector because he ran them people up into that Caucasus mountain according to Surah 18, and he locked they behind in there. When they came down, he told them that they were going to come down though. He said when they come down, the Gog and the Magog, all hellacious condition was going to break loose. And we have seen that. We seen what them Khazars have been doing since they came out of the mountain. We seen what them Ashkenazis have been doing since they came out of the mountain, family. Oh, we don't bite our tongue over here. We uncut with it. So let me go back. Now that you've seen that, let me make sure this is still, okay, yeah, it's still shared. So now that we're at the bottom of the actual chapter, we're going to go back over the rest of the commentary. We give honors to our chairman. 12. Canaan settled, of course, in the land of Canaan, which today is not taught as being a part of Africa, but the Middle East around the area of Palestine, Lebanon, Phoenicians, and Syria. Canaan was the father of Sidon, Heth, Hittite, Sin, wilderness of Sin, Jebusites, Hivites, Amorites, Amalekites, and others, many substantially wiped out by Israel after the flight from Egypt and the wilderness wandering. Ethiopia, Abyssinia, Libya, also literally called Cush, Put, mentioned in Ezekiel 38:5. Put was the third son of Ham, i.e. Cam, settled in North Africa. Libya, Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. It was these same people that is known by the Kemites as the Meswesh, also known as the Lebi'u, also known as the Moreu. These are different names that the Libyans or the Puttites were referred to, and they too are descendants of this same lineage. So the Cushites were the descendants of Ham or Cam. In other words, the Cushites come from Cam, who first settled in the Arabian Peninsula, founded what is now called the Holy City of Mecca, and migrated south. Egypt was Kemet in Arabic again, Kim and Kimi, nicknamed Rahab. Syria again was Aram, Arabia was Havilah, Iran was Persia and also Elam, Joktan was southern Havilah, Spain was Tarshish, Ethiopia was Abyssinia. East Africa is the birthplace of modern human family. Today, these are the Hammatites, who are the founders of the present Moorish Empire, known as a Mexim, which covers northwest and southwest Africa, including all the Americas and adjoining islands. Asiatic nations, countries, and peoples of the Americas are the Aboriginals, indigenous and rightful owners of the continents of the Americas, Atlantic, and adjoining islands. The fateful name of Muslim means one whose will is in harmony with the great deific will. And then it goes further into the histories. A lot of our biblical people, they love this here. They familiar with this history. Lud, Ezekiel 35, is a province of West Asia Minor, which derived its name from the fourth son of Shem in Genesis chapter 10, verse 22. It was bounded on the east by the Greater Phrygia and on the west by Ionia and the Aegean Sea. That area is now modern Turkey. The Kubs was the name of the people in alliance with Egypt in the time of Nebuchadnezzar. The word is found only in Ezekiel 30, ayat 5. These two were descendants of the ancient Moabites who later traveled from South Kemet to inhabit the north and southwestern shores of Africa. Noah's son Ham, or Cam, which has become, and Noah's original name is actually Menachem. But anyway, it says, which has become a misnomer by the ruling class or ruling nations of Europe to now mean burnt, swarthy, or black. The most blatant of all history will reveal the curse of Canaan / East Africa originated in European translation of the word Ethiopian, which originally showed the demarcation line between the East and West Africa, father and son. The Hamathites and the Canaanites, seas are as perfect as the source from which it came. Therefore, no African father would ever curse the descendant nature planted deep within his son. The so-called curse did not come from Ham, the father. The true curse of Ham cover-ups the era of European cloning by Africans. Due to the biblical European rule, so-called African blacks bore the burnt of his curse on Ham's son Canaan, a prophetic malediction. Ham was the father of Cush, Abyssinia, Canaan, East Africa, Mizraim, Kemet, Put, Libya, and the Mexims at large. The Turks became the Grand Muftis, chief protectors of the Islamic creed, to defend the Arabian re-enslavement of the mothers and fathers. It says, this soldier rule of Turkish men has been cloaked under this Arabian version of Mohammedan laws originated in Kemet, now disguised as Islam, al-Islam. See, we're going to give you the truth over here. The modern day Turks is who he talking about, not the ancient Keta. There's a bounty accepted by the chief protectors to hide the joint works of the Catholics and Christians, Jews and Muslims by the Turks, whom themselves have shielded the burial of the Moors during the changing of the guards. This burial is really entombment of the original white fez of the Moorish Egyptian adepts being changed to red, and then finally the black fez worn to this day. The pure meaning of the white fez is God, but when purity is slowed down by the rate of the atmosphere, it becomes cool to red. See, that's adept alchemy. Those who don't know what that is, that's right over their head. But anyway, but black is a word, not a color, and the word means death. The Turks donned the black fez because it meant they are the chief morticians of the African godmans whose code name is infidel, heathen, NBC, or Hiram Abiff. Through Western Freemasonry, some Moorish in the West have been marked with the black fez to denote their continued enslavement. Contrary to popular belief, the Holy Prophet Muhammad I was not the founder of Islam, the world's first Islamic creed. Islam was founded by our ancient forefathers as the divine contribution and saving power to the world. Neither did Muhammad create nor perfect Islam. Islam has always been the only perfect straightway between man and Allah. And what he's referring to is the concept of peace. Not the word Islam itself, but the concept of peace that existed in our teachings and our ancestor teaching. I let the chairman tell you. He could only reunite this way of life from the four sacred schools that have been dispensed into the world. See the Islamism design chart. And I showed that to y'all before. When Muhammad said, I have perfected for you this day your religion, and it's called Islam, he meant that he has now become successful after 23 years with the Comedian Adept Master, the Angel Jibril, in transliterating the Egyptian Know Thyself teachings into its native Arabic and Aramaic languages. The totality of these holy instructions gave Islamism as a way of life to the pagan Arabs. So now that we are done with this particular measure, you understand again the way we teach. We don't teach the way the Arabs teach. We teach, how people was enslaved. We tell you exactly what it is. Now, what I'm gonna do to support what my chairman just gave you, I'm gonna do it like I always do. I'm gonna bring the receipts out. We want to know, was there a connection between these people, the Moabites or Moabites, the Moors, is there some knowledge that actually shows this? I'm finna show you right now. First thing we want to do is show you something. Now, because I'm like primary evidence. My DNA has the EM2 marker, right? This is a map right here. You can use it. It also has the M96 and the DM1. See it right over here? DM1, M96. You see the region that it's in? I'm going here because I'm going somewhere. This is the Sudanic region, right? Let's click the next one. Same marker, DM1, right? M96. Let's go back up here because it wouldn't let me click that one at first. All of them DM1. So it's DM1, DM1, M96, DM1, M96, and here in Khartoum, DM1, N96. Now, actually, this first one was the A group. I want y'all to keep that in mind because that's very important. This is actually a haplogroup. You see? This is the haplogroup. So, if you go here, this is the EM2 gene all the way up here. This is the gene that's connected to Ramesses and Pentawiri, which I actually found, in my DNA information. I'm going to pull it up right here. See, this is my paternal haplogroup right here. I'm going to click it. Let me see. I don't know why it closed me out of there. What they got going on? Let's see if it let me back in. Here it go down here, right down here at the bottom. See it here? You share ancient paternal lineage with Pharaoh Ramesses III. See, he defended Egypt in 3 consecutive wars during his approximately 30-year reign, but provoked dissent with his administration and catalyzed by mounting internal strife. One of Ramesses' lesser wives, Ta, has to plot to have her son Pentawir usurp the throne by having Ramesses murdered along with his appointed heir. And this is actually after he had married into the Puttite line too, the Libiu. A lot of people don't know that. It says a papyrus record of resulting trial explains the plot failed and all involved were tried and convicted. However, a modern CT scan of Ramesses III mummy revealed a deep slit in his throat. It just goes into what happened, but it tells you about the haplogroup EV38. This is a part of my DNA. So when we go back to this map that I just showed you, you see, this is it right here. Ramesses, the EM2, is another way of saying that EV38 is the same thing. But this is where it's located in the Nile Valley, right here. So in other words, the portion of DNA that I have that's connected, it comes out of here. But also those same markers, with the A group that's mentioned here, the EM1 and the M96, And you see them all the way here. This is what we call the Upper Nile. All up through the Upper Nile in Khartoum. And this is the place that is known as the Sudanic area. So this is the Cushitic blood, blood lineage. Sudanese, Sudan. This is Asiatic. All of it up in there. That's the most ancient portion of my DNA right there, right? I'm showing you this to show that when Noble Drew Ali say we were descendants of the ancient Cushites and Moabites and so forth and so on, that's the Cushite right there in my DNA. And notice it says Meroitic today, and they call most of them Christians now. This is just Meroitic, the Meroitic. So this was the Meroitic or the Cushite Empire. The key with this is that anytime you look at the Meroitic temples, that's where you're going to find our people. That's where you're going to find our people being depicted in most of this stuff right here. These temples here, which are in Nubia, when you go into them, family, the Nakata culture and all of that there, what they call the Naga part itself, the Naga culture. This is the Naga culture, which was in the Middle Kushite civilization, and this same Naga culture went over into India as well. That's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that they were descendants of the Hindus and the people, that were Kushites. Now let's go into some of this here when we go into the Nubian. Watch this. Let's go up into this area here. This is where you find the darker people at. And most of the other places you'll find with a European that went up in there. But if you notice, you see they got a feather in their head with a headdress. They got a sash on their body. That's where Prophet Noble Drew Ali got his style of dress from. It came straight up out of there, family. What you see Noble Drew Ali dressed in, he dressed in the wear of the ancient Kushites. Big facts. You see? So if you want to see what Al-Sar looked like and Al-Set looked like, according to the inscriptions of our people, go to the Nubian inscriptions. And you're going to see everybody melanated up in there. But these are the people that I share DNA with, according to, my markers. You see? That's my ancient DNA anyway. You see, all of it don't come from there, but this is where it started at. The most ancient portion of my DNA come from here. You see? So, now let me show you something here. Because we ain't done yet. We got a map right here. And this is the most important part in a minute. I want to show you this real quick. Now that you see, we know the Meroitic people. We know who they are. We know, and this is common knowledge. But most people don't know. We're going to attach this with the markers so you know exactly where they at. Right here, family. Right? So, when we go further, and they have different markers and stuff that come over further over here in different areas that deal with the Ibero-Maurusian, because there's a tie, in regards to dealing with that. But let me go here real quick. I want to go here and show you this, the haplogroup. This is the EM2 haplogroup. This is the most important part that I'm trying to show y'all. Because Noble Drew Ali say the Moors are descendants of the Cushites, and ancient Camites, the Egyptians. He mentioned that right here now. This is what he said. Let's go back up here. He said the Egyptians. He also mentioned the Hindus. Remember I told you that the Hindus are the Indus Kushite Valley civilization. They got their culture from the Meru Kushite Valley civilization. So the Nagas in India got their culture from the Nagas in Kemet. Some people try to make it seem like it's the other way around, but it's not. It started from the Kushites, the people of Asiatic. and then it spread it out into the Indus Valley civilization. Make no mistake about it. So here the Egyptians and the Hindus all coming from the same people. We're going to get to the last portion. You know what Noble Drew Ali say all of them was Muslims, right? We're going to get to that in a minute. And he talking about the modern time. I'm going to show you why he said that in a minute. You know, why he made that statement that many people can't comprehend. Let me tell you about this EM2 first, though. He said the haplogroup here, also known as E1B1A, M2, is a human Y chromosome DNA haplogroup. EM2 is primarily distributed within the sub-Saharan Africa, which it tell me that my DNA is 85% sub-Saharan West Africa, right? It says, but it originated in the Sudan. It says, most specifically, EM2 is the predominant subclade in West Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and the region of the African Great Lakes. It occurs at low to moderate frequencies. It says in North Africa and low frequencies in the Middle East. EM2 has several subclades, but many of these haplogroups are included in either EL485, EU175. EM2 is especially common among indigenous Africans who speak Niger-Congo languages and was spread to Southern Africa and East Africa through Bantu expansion, right? It goes on. It says the discovery of two SNPs, V38 and V100, it says by Trombetta ETL, 2011, significantly redefined the EV38 polygenetic tree. That EV38 family, remember, that's Ramesses' blood, his DNA, right? So now when we come back over here, it says this led author to suggest that EV38 may have originated in East Africa. EV38 joins the West African affiliated EM2 and Northeast African affiliated EM329 with an earlier common ancestor who, like EP2, may have also originated in East Africa. The downstream SNP, EM180, which is also mentioned in my demonstration, may have originated in the humid South Central Saharan savanna grassland of North Africa between 14,000 and 10,000 BC. According to Wood ETL and Rosa ETL 2007, such population movements changed the pre-existing population Y chromosomal diversity in Central, Southern, and Southeastern Africa, replacing the previous haplogroup frequencies in these areas with the now dominant E1B1A lineages and traces of their early inhabitants, however, can be observed today in these regions via the presence of Y DNA haplogroups A1 and A1B, A2, A3, and BM60 that are common in certain populations such as Mbuti and Khoisan. It says Schreiner ETL similar suggests that the haplogroup E1B1A, which is another name for V38, migrated across the Green Sahara from the east to the west around 19,000 years ago. That's called the Sahel. That means moving from the Sudan straight across here. And they went into West Africa. That's the Mauritanian measure. So anyway, when it comes down here, it begins to speak on the E1B1A, you know, and going through Egypt, the Egyptian mummy. It goes into that aspect and showing the connection to Ramesses. You know, it comes further, Tanzania, and then it goes outside of Africa. This is the important aspect right here. At San Jose, it says the Los Naturales Royal Hospital burial site in Mexico City, 3 enslaved West Africans of West African and Southern African ancestry is dated between 1453 CE, that's before Columbus came to America, and 626 CE, 1450 CE, also before Columbus came to America, also 1620 CE, and another one 1436 CE, Also before Christopher Columbus came to America, 1472 CE, were found one carried haplogroups E1B1A, EM2632, and L1B2A, another carried haplogroups E1B1A, EP278, also EM425, which is also a marker that I carry. It says in L3D1A1A, the last carried haplogroups E1B1A, 1A, 1C, 1A, 1C, E, CT, S80 and 30, and then L3E, 1A, 1A. And it says human leukocyte antigen alleles further confirm that the individuals were of sub-Saharan African origin. So these are our people in Mexico prior to Columbus getting here. This is very important that we have this knowledge. Now I'm going to go up here on another measure and show you right here. Where is it? I had another measure up here. I don't want to go there yet. Where is it, man? Okay, let me see right here. It may be on my other. Let me see. I don't want to do that and kill my thing. I'm gonna take you here because you need to know who these people are right here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, not there. It's a particular link that you need to see. You got to see this. And you can actually utilize this here too when you get a chance. It's finna come up in a second. I think I closed it by mistake. Here it is. This is what I'm looking for right here. Family tree discovery. Okay, these are the one that's being spoke of right here. San Jose de los Naturales. And you see what it called them? Same date. That's the 1453 to 626 CE. They were found in Mexico. They called this that he was associated with historic Afro-Mexican cultural group. See the EM2 gene right there? San Jose de Naturales, and this is supposed to be, anybody that share that DNA. This would be me, for example, right? Now, what is a Afro-Mexican? That's what we want to know. What is an Afro-Mexican, family? I'm finna show you in a second here. We got to see what the Afro-Mexicans look like. So this is letting you know that a African was found that was brought having that same bloodline over here in the Americas. This is what Afro-Mexicans look like, family. They got a couple of more in there. Yeah. They got them up in here. So in other words, these particular Afro-Mexicans, some of them darker, some a little mixed and light and whatever the case may be. But they, basically represent those people that was here before Columbus. And they were darker during that time if they still got some melanin in them right now. You know what I mean? So when we go back over here and they say that they was holding that same bloodline, that EM2 gene, that EV38 gene that migrated all the way from the Sudan into the west coast of Africa. If this is the case, because we're going to show you they got took from this port right here, Dakar in Senegal, which is another portion of Mauritania. This is why we tell you the Moors was took into slavery. This is where the Moors was took from. But me personally, my lineage crossed all the way over into here, and this is in my bloodline, Senegambia, and all of that right there, right? So now, this is what a trade post, Dakar, the house of slaves. I showed that to y'all in our last video. I'm finna show it to you on a deeper aspect because I actually got records for the people that don't believe that people was enslaved. You see? But I want to show you this first. Well, actually, I want to go back here first and then I go to that. So now here's another measure dealing with the same DNA marker in Portugal. This is at Quebeca da Amora, and it's in Portugal. An enslaved West African man who may have been from Senegambian coastal region of the Gambia, Mauritania, Senegal. It says in carried haplogroups E1B1A, L3B1A, which is the same markers that I carried, was buried among the shell middens between the 16th and century CE and the 18th century CE. You see, this is Mauritania being taken into Portugal, right? Saint Helena, a whole bunch of them took there, right? Spain, in Granada, a Muslim Moor of the Cordoba Caliphate, who was of haplogroups E1B1A, H11689, as well as estimated between 900 CE and 1000 CE. A Morisco, who was of haplogroup L2E1, as well as estimated to the date between 1500 CE, 1600 CE, were both of West African and Gambian Iberian descent, Moorish. And then when you get to the United States, same ones, West African, East African ancestry. We just pointed that out, E1B1A, then the L3 gene. And it just goes on and on. Sub-Saharan West African, same thing. African ancestry all over the place. E1B1A, L3 gene, all throughout the Americas. For the people that said that wasn't no Moors brought over here. I'm already evidence of it. I just showed you what my gene was, as far as dealing with the haplogroup. You see, it's all over the place. I mean, all you got to do is look this stuff up. See what I'm saying? Look at this. Just all over the place. And all of them came from the same area. You think this a game right here? I'm really finna give it to you in a minute. Watch this. This site here is the site, that's known as slave voyages. And it actually show you, you can eliminate different aspects, but I put everything up here because I want to see where everybody come from. So this is the region where the slaves was taken from in Senegambia. I want to blow this up so you can see it. But it ain't letting me stretch that out. But that's all right. Y'all can see it. This is Senegambia right now. I can blow that part up right there for you, though. Let's see. And see what it says right there? Embarked and disembarked. That means they embarked on the journey of the slavery, and only basically 600 million. I meant 600,000, pardon self, was 600,605 actually survived. So somebody probably died in the process. But this is how many that was taken from Senegambia off the shore of the Atlantic that was actually taken into the Americas. You see the rock. Some of them, died in between, whatever the case may be, off the ship and everything. But you see the pattern coming from here. You see one route back down here as well. But we see them going this way here. To tell you how many actually landed. Let's see how many landed up here. Like 6,000. They saying 8,000 embarked, 6,000 disembarked. So maybe some of them people that are unaccounted for might have died or whatever the case may be. And they was arriving from Africa and they went up. You can see they went up here. But then you see the one that came across here that went over into these regions. Brazil. A few died. They was disembarked, but some of them wasn't. So, that change in them got to do with deaths probably. So anyway, the Bahia region in Brazil, Amazonia, British, Dutch, French, and so forth and so on. Some of them came from also in the region of what we call Benin and all that too, Biafra, Gold Coast. Some actually came from down here too, and they get a amount in the numbers that came there, but they was all dispersed mostly in these different areas. I want to go up to this particular region because we say some went into Mexico. Well, this is one dealing with the Spanish Caribbean, and I ain't letting that one open up for some reason. I wonder is it because I got it stretched out. Let me see. Yep, but is it gonna let me? Hold up, I might be able to roll this up. Let's see. So it got, St. Vincent, Trinidad, Tobago. I actually got some of that in my DNA too. The indigenous Trinidadians, family. I got indigenous Trinidadian in my DNA too. But here's the ones that come over here to the Americas and give you those who were, and they went off of, well, this was down here in the Cuba areas, but they also went up here in this area here, going toward America. Then they had the ones that landed up here in the Carolinas, so this is going toward the area right there in the Mexican area right there, family. But coming straight out of Senegal. So they went in a couple of different directions. This is an actual website where you can go look this stuff up. If you think it's a game, and think we making this stuff up, slave voyages, you can actually go a little deeper. You can go into the image galleries, and they actually give you the register of the Africans that was taken. And look who they got right here. Ayuba Suleiman Diallo, better known as Joe bin Solomon, was a Fulbe Muslim from present-day region of Senegal. He was captured and sold to English slave traders. That ain't counting them other 606,000, 605,000, so to speak. They ain't talking about them now. Solomon embarked the slave vessel Arbella in 1731, sailing from Gambia to Maryland, where he worked as a slave in tobacco farms about a year. Because of his skills in Arabic writing, he moved to England, where he was subsequently employed in the Royal African Company in Gambia. Joseph bin Solomon remained in Gambia until he died in 1773. Images show in black and white engravings a detailed page from the Gentleman's Magazine in which a picture of Joe bin Solomon was published. 1750, the images reproduced courtesy of the manuscript archives of the Rare Book Library, Emerald. I showed you it's more than him, but he one of the most famous ones, that was from the Gambia. That was a Moor, basically, that was taken, you see? So I'm evidence of some of that DNA because I share DNA from the Sudan, from the EM2 gene, and also from, the Senegambians that showed up over here in the West. That's proof right there. That make me a primary source because I got the DNA to prove it. You see? So they got a lot of resources up here, though, family. If you get a chance, go through here and learn this website. It's a whole lot of information. They got all the records, for the different ships that they did have, and they show you all them different records. They got external links you can go to, where you just click on something that say African slave trade and click this link right here. And then this will take you further into, I actually showed y'all something out of this one here when I was showing y'all that Moor that was being ran down on by, the Albidan. They also, you can go here too and go over here in the same area, and it begins to show you what a trade posts were. This is that same area right here. See this area right here? Let's split them up. Let me take it down a little bit so you can see it. And it splits it all up. See, this is the area that's known as Gorée Island, the same area, Dakar, where the slave dock was taken at. This is actually in Senegal. This is where they was taken from, Mauritania, and this is where the Moors was actually took from. All these, this is Moorish territory. This same area, when I did the video on the Serra people, these are the people. So our ancestors that were brought over here, they was practicing, the way of life of our ancestors. See the Marribat, that's a Moor too. This is the area here, Dred Scott, where he was taken from. And in his case, the concept of dealing with being a Moor came up to free him, so to speak. And then we also had your boy now, Abdul Rahman, the prince among slaves that came up out of this same area. You deal with Fulo, or Fulana, or Fulbi, these are Moors, family. You deal with the Hossa, All of these are Moors, fam. You see? Yeah. They got everything up here. You can literally go in here and see about the Middle Passage everywhere. So when people trying to say it wasn't no slave trade and they go to line telling you that, all you got to do is go to this record. It ain't just got these pictures up here now. This thing actually has, like I showed you a few minutes ago, records. This is showing you records. You know, the African migration, you can click on it. It's going to take you into a whole nother measure and show you who the African Americans were. You know, so they got a lot of resources up here. You know, but the main thing is, I mean, people that don't want to accept the truth, they're going to accept whatever they accept. You can't tell them nothing anyway. You know, so you can go into that and navigate it. And that's plenty of information. Like I said, you got actual documents. Remember now, you go to the image gallery, these are actual documents, family. You know, of the slave ships and the people that was on them. So they can't tell you that lie and say none of our people wasn't enslaved. All of them wasn't enslaved. Some of them was already here. But some of them was brought here. Facts. We got the ships and everything up here now. So it get deeper. It go way deeper. It's deeper than rap, family. You know what I mean? Here's one dealing with African origins, and they go in here and they give you history on all of that as well. So it's so many different resources up here. You know, the enslaved Africans database, you know, enslavers database. They give you the names of who they was, the name of the companies that was dealing with the enslavement, all of that. Who gonna check them? The dirty work done been did now. You know, and you can type into the voyage ID and it'll bring up information as well during the time period and all of that. So now that we established that I have the same DNA that come up out of the EM2, came up through across the Sahel in the Senegambia, ended up over there in Mexico and also here in America. You know what I mean? Now we know that the indigenous, you know, Mexicans look like us. We knew that too because the Aztecs, you know, in the Mayan civilization, when you go back into the Olmecs and all that knowledge, you know, it's already out there. So I want to go here now. This is where I'm going to close it down too. With Billy Gambella, who did his DNA test, and he used his information to be informative to other people. And he mentioned these same markers, the M2, the EV38, you know, the M78, M35, they all related to each other. Egyptian Y chromosomes indigenous to North Africa and Nile Valley. I just showed y'all that on this map right here. This map right here. That's the Nile Valley right there. See, that's the EM96, all of that. You know? Yeah. It's up here, family. It's up here. So, let me go back. Okay, when we come here, he run it down. You don't believe what Noble Drew Ali was saying about the people coming out of the Kushite region and also coming into the Moorish. Like I said, I'm already proof of that. You know, I just showed it to you. It says this, and they talking about, and you notice they got them pictures here. They said this is more focused on Egyptians around Luxor, where Upper Egypt was located. A recent DNA study by Khrushani that focused on the Y chromosome EM78 was born in Northeast Africa, not East Africa as previously thought. This means that Egyptian with M78 and Y chromosome has had a male line ancestry reaching back to the Pleistocene inhabitants of Egypt as far back as the Haffian culture, 24,000 years ago. Below is a display of the most prevalent Egyptian males. You know, and he goes into breaking down. He got all this stuff right here. The boy got PDFs up here, family. You know, going into all this history right here. I love it. I love it. I love it. He be sourcing up just like I be sourcing up. But anyway, and giving all the rundown on this history, I want to just speed through it a little bit. That's the EM2 gene, same one that I got, diversified in Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt. He get a percentage that's there. Lower Nubia Nile Valley, 39.1%. I know good and well this thing ain't closed me out of here. Oh, it just kicked me off that side. Okay, so it says Y chromosome, the EM35. He goes into all that, breaks that down. I'm dealing mainly with the M2 though. That's what I'm more focused on because that's what's in me. The highest frequency in northern and southern Nubia is 39.1%. All this coming out of the Nubian Nile Valley civilization, the Meroitic civilization. They go to that haplogroup, descendants of Y chromosome, E1B1A, V8, V38 migrated across the Sahara from the east to the west, possibly around 19,000 years ago. So this happened long before the slave trade. This bloodline came over there. The distribution of these markers in other parts of Africa has usually been explained by the Bantu migrations, but their presence in the Nile Valley and non-Bantu speakers cannot be explained in this way. Their existence is better explained by their being present in populations of the earlier Holocene Sahara, who went on to people the Nile Valley in mid-Holocene 2000 BP, according to Hassan 1988. This occurred way long before the Bantu migrations, which also don't explain the high frequency of M2 in Senegal, since there are no Bantu speakers there either. That's where my lineage goes into, what I'm connected to. Haplogroup M2 coincides with the Egyptian Nubian Haffian culture, 24,000 BC. The Haffian people, Egypt and Nubia flourished between 18,000 and 15,000 BC, Nubia and Egypt. This is showing you that the Kushite lineage, just like Noble Drew Ali said, even though he used the term Kush, an old man Ham settled in West Africa, when he said that, the father and the son having a demarcation line, I am living proof, I am primary evidence, because I share the markers of the EM2, and I also share the marker in Senegal. We see that the Senegal people that showed up in Mexico, that they were brought there. That's proof that there was slaves brought there. We seen it was like 700,000 something that was brought there. So I can be from any one of the ones that made it over, in the amount that did make it into the Americas, but I do know I'm connected to some of them. So he spoke of the progenitors of Nubian and Haffian culture. They lived on a diet of large herd animals, the Cormorant tradition of fishing. And it states, although there are only a few Haffian sites, they are small in size, and there's a greater concentration of artifacts indicating that this was not a people bound to seasonal wandering, but one that has settled, at least for a time. The Haffian is seen as a parent culture of the Ibero-Mauritian. It is said that the Ibero-Mauritian connect to the Proto-Nile Valley civilization. That's true. Industry which spread across the Sahara into Spain. And that's the Ibero-Mauritian, which actually deal with the original inhabitants of that area that later became known as Mauritanians. The Mari, the Demari, and so forth and so on. These are the ancestors, sometimes seen as Proto-African Asiatic culture. This group is derived from the Nile River Valley culture known as Haffian. When you say Afro-Asiatic and we talking about the divine origin of the Asiatic nation, it makes sense now, don't it? It says, dating about 17,000 BC, the Haffian culture was derived in turn from the Comorian. It says, which depended on specialized hunting and fishing collected techniques for survival. It says the material remains of this culture primarily stone, tools, flakes. It says in a multitude of rock paints. So, we already know they connected to the Ibero-Mauritians. They talking about the Omar Kita, ethnicity in ancient Egypt and North Africa. Same one, that E1B1A, the M2 that I got. This is a mummy they got. They got a YouTube video. That's Ramesses, actually. That's Ramesses. Why DNA sample shows that Egyptian Pharaoh Ramesses of the 20th dynasty belonged to haplogroup E1B1A M2 EV38. Again, that's my DNA. This is my DNA right here. I'm gonna go further up and show some more stuff what they were saying about the DNA. Remember, I was telling y'all the A haplogroup. See, haplogroup A. When we go back to this map up here, haplogroup A is found right here. It's in this mark. See it, the A group, the quadruca, DEM1, likely M96. You see, M2. See, and that's right here. When we go back to what I was just showing you, same thing. You know, the EM2 and the EV38. I just showed you that before I scrolled it up. You know, dealing with Ramesses. Now going back to my particular measure, it says A. The A haplogroup is 275,000 years old. A haplogroup, a haplogroup A. The stories of all our parental lines can be traced back to 275,000 years to just one man. The common ancestor of haplogroup A, current evidence suggests he was one of thousands of men who lived in Eastern Africa at the time. However, while his male line descendants passed down their Y chromosome generation after generation, the lineages from the other men died out. Over time, his lineage alone gave rise to all other haplogroups that exist today. See the EM96? You know, that's it. This is my chart right here. This is my DNA chart. 23andMe, DEM145 and A. So when we go back to the map, what does the map say? DEM1. So when we deal with the DEM1, you're going to see that that's basically every one of these markers here. M96, M1. See right there, M96, M1, DM1. Khartoum again, EM96, DM1 and 2. So let's go back over here. We just talked about the Ibero-Mauritanian. So we ain't even got to go into that. But let me go back here so we can close this measure out. So it says Ramesses III, according to genetic study in December 2012, haplogroup E1B1AM2 was shared by Ramesses III. You know, and it says the zinc unit determined that the mummy of an unknown man buried with Ramesses was because of the proven genetic relationship and mummification process that suggested punishment. A good candidate for the pharaoh's son, Pentaweret, who was the only son to revolt against his father. It was impossible to determine the cause of death. Both mummies were predicted by the STR predictor. It says to share Y chromosome haplogroup E1B1AM2. It says 50% of their genetic material, which pointed to a father-son relationship. This haplogroup is also shared by 80% of sub-Saharan East Africa, West Africa, South Africa, and 40% of the sub-Sahara, North Africa, 20% of the Middle East, and Southwest Asia. The same paternal haplogroup, E1B1AM2, also shares an ancestry with different groups of the Americas. So-called African Americans, 7.9%. Cubans, 9.8%. Dominicans, 5.7%. Puerto Rican, 19.20%. Nicaraguan, 5.5%. Colombian, 6.1%. Brazilian, 23.4%. Bahamians, 58.6%. Now let's go back to Noble Drew Ali. You seen all them places I named, right? Colombia, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Nicaraguan, Colombian, Cubans part himself, Brazilian and Bahamians, right? All of them share the E1B1AM2 that come through Ramesses, coming out of the Kushite region into the Moorish region. And when we go back to what Noble Drew Ali said, what did he say? He said, again, the Egyptians, who are the Hammatites, direct descendant of Mizraim, the Arabian seed of Hajar, Japanese, Chinese, Hindus of India, descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites from the land of Canaan, the Asiatic nations and countries in North and South and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans in North America, Brazilians and Argentinians and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and natives of San Salvador and Central America. All of these are Muslims. That's why Noble Drew Ali made that statement, because 90% of Senegal are Muslims. Now, how did he have that information without having the information dealing with the haplogroups? Huh? 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 Answer that question. How did Noble Drew Ali have the knowledge that all these people, he didn't say nothing about the haplogroup, but how did he know all of them came from the same place in the information that he was given? Let that marinate a bit. So Ramesses, it says, from tomb KV11, a genetic kinship analysis was done to investigate a possible family relationship between Ramesses and unknown man E, who may actually be his son Pentawir, an ancient Egyptian prince in the 20th dynasty, son of Pharaoh Ramesses and secondary wife Tai. They amplified 16 Y chromosomal short tandem repeats, AMPF, STR, looking like Y-filler, and PCR amplification kit, applied biosystems. 8 polymorphic microsatellites of the nuclear genome were also amplified, and then it say the same thing, repeating it. The Y chromosome haplogroups of Ramesses and unknown E-man was screened using with 80s haplogroup predictor, and we determined the Y chromosome haplogroup E1B1A. And it says the testing of polymorphic autosomal microsatellite loci provided similar results. At least one allele of each marker, table 2, although the mummy of Ramesses, the third wife Tai, was not available for testing. The identical Y chromosomal DNA and autosomal half allele, sharing of 2 male mummies strongly suggests father and son relationship. So it goes on with the M2, the Nubian. We already know that. We ain't got to go over that again. Neolithic Nile Valley. We already showed you that. We ain't gonna browbeat you over the head with that. Y'all already got it. This is what I wanted to get to. The Jerbian Hebrews from North Africa, Carthage. Didn't I tell you they got the same bloodline that we got? But they don't want to accept it. Tunisia's island, Jerba. The Sephardic, then I tell you, we talking about the Sephardim, then I tell you that the Sephardims, which they were calling Moabites, which are the Moabites in Africa. See, it says Judeo-Christian 8.1, then 12 a percentage of North Africa. Mauritania 8.1, Morocco, Algeria. This is where your Moabites were that I told y'all about earlier. So when Noble Drew Ali say we the descendants of the ancient Moabites and the Canaanites and so forth, that's the language being used by him. But this is saying the same thing, but giving you the tribal and nation names, so to speak. Libya, Iberia, all that right there, family. That's why when we went into Spain, it was Moorish Sephardims. It was Moorish Philotia. They also got expelled with the Moors. See? And it talk about a small portion of Ethiopians, 1% in Senegalese and Ethiopian there. And it goes on with this E1B1A gene, M2, which the one that I showed y'all that I have. It already showed y'all that it reached the Americas, Cuba, everywhere. Here it is again. The EM2 population grew enough members in the Ethiopian lowlands to be able to cross the territories of the Paleo-Africans on their West Sudan E1B1A L576. This population represents east to west thrust in Africa. Only one E1B1A lineage able to survive crossing the A1B1 territories. E1B1A AL6.1. This mutation indicates the population crossed A1B1, dominated the grassland into the regions of the West Great Lakes. E1B1A M58 expansion between the Great Lakes, Midwest Africa, E1B1. And it's just going on. They're showing you how they migrated all the way across the Sahel, basically, until they reached West Africa. See what I'm saying? All up here in Nigeria and the Bantu, come on, bro. Then it says again, primary marker, E1B1A U290, primary marker of the African slavery in the United States, imported lineage coming from the Cameroon too, found in West Cameroon, South Africa, E1B1A, P268, which is also related to the EM2, found in the Gambia, could possibly indicate early expansion out of Central Africa or late emergence out of L86.1 that lived amongst the L485 and 75 E1B1A M329 and the E1B1A population that remain in the Ethiopian lowlands. So it goes on, family. This guy wasn't playing with putting this there. There you go, your Kushite princes, Kushite spread, from Africa to Eurasia, the African Asiatic origin. We talking about the divine origin of the Asiatic nations here, straight out of Kush into West Africa, family. See that? From Nubia into Asia, West Africa expansion, the African Kushite population. So the people that's been out here lying, talking about Noble Drew Ali was lying, they need to apologize. They need to apologize to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. See, it's talking about coming out of Napata, Khartoum, and Sudan, the same place that I pointed out on the map right here. When we go back over there, same place on the map over here, fam, where I showed you the EM2 gene come from. The EM96, right here. We can't make this stuff up. DM1, EM96, that's the same thing that I got right in my DNA information, right here. See it? DM145. See, that's the A, that's the DM145. That's 76,000 years ago. See where they start at in the Sudan and they migrate across the Sahel over here, family. It actually go in detail. It says the first steps of DEM145, the first steps of your paternal line ancestors led from the Eastern Africa towards the Red Sea. They had some that went up that way too. It says in it says the DE. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it says haplogroup DE M145 and DE lineage branched away from its brothers around 65,000 years ago. So 76,000 years ago is how old it is, but there was a divergence at 65,000 years ago amongst the first of our ancestors to cross out of Africa into the Arabian Peninsula. See it right here going up? Yeah. It says most descendants of the DE lineage belonging to one of its two branches, DNE, men carrying D, move east into Asia, and those with E move west through Africa, right here. See what I'm saying? So they went here, some went there, some went up here. This is definitely where your Moors, set up shop right here. This EM96 here. Yeah, that's what they talking about, family. And they move also with the E move west through Africa and into Europe, they say. So you can see it coming up through here. And then last but not least, they lit it up to let you know exactly what they was talking about. And it says your path branched off again over 60,000 years ago with the rise of haplogroup EM96, also simply called haplogroup E. The common ancestor EM96 may have lived in northeastern Africa or in the Arabian Peninsula, coming out of Canaan. They even saying the possibility. And then coming down up through here in the Kush, and then coming over here, just like Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. Since then, his descendants have carried it throughout the African continent into neighboring regions of Europe, the Middle East. Now, this is crazy because if they had to migrate up in there and some migrated back over here, make me think about the tribe of Shabazz crossing over from Arabia into the Kushite civilization, being the original Kushites traveling over here and actually setting up, that Nile Valley civilization. It tied right into that same history that I was building on. So it gives the history, of all this. It talk about the Xhosa people. I like to call them Xhosa Notra. The Xhosa people, the Hutu, the Sukuma, the Herero. You know what I mean? These all have to do with certain connections that I have, with old groups in Africa. You know what I mean? So they trace it all the way down here, family. We can't make this stuff up. You know what I mean? This real spill right here. Now, when I go into my other measure, let me see here. Oh, I got to go back and I got to actually do this to go back. And then, where is it at? I'm trying to find the original home and the ancestry traits up here. That way, okay. Oh, it's down here at the bottom, probably. No, it ain't there. Hold up, let me go to the ancestry report. I'm trying to go down here to the actual area here. Where is that? Not that one. I'm trying to go to this one here. Here it is right here. I'm trying to show you the maternal side. It says L31. Okay, here it is right here. This is the maternal side right here. The migrations of the maternal line, haplogroup L. 180,000 years ago. You know what I mean? It said, if every living person today can trace his or her maternal line back over thousands of generations, all of our lines will meet at a single woman who lived in Eastern Africa between 150,000 to 200,000 years ago. She was one of perhaps thousands of women alive at the time. Only the diverse branches of a haplogroup have survived today. The story of your maternal line begins with her in the same area. So my maternal and my paternal line come out of the same area. That's the L3. And you see some went over into the area what we was talking about, Shabbat. Out of Shabbat into Shabbat. We was talking about that the other night. Then you had some of them migrate straight across the Sahara. Some went down, some went down, some went up. Similar pattern as my paternal line, right? This is the actual highlight of it. And it's crazy because before I even got this DNA test, family, you know what I mean? I was already talking about this. It said your branch of L is haplogroup L3, which arose from a woman who likely lived in Eastern Africa between 60,000 years ago and 70,000 years ago, while many of her descendants remain in Africa. One small group ventured east across the Red Sea, likely across the narrow Babel Madeb into the tip of the Arabian Peninsula, which is right here. You know what I mean? Shabbat, them Cushites. So man, I mean, like, come on, bro. Come on. And they said also that the DNA that I have is extremely rare among 23andMe customers. Today, you share your haplogroup with all the maternal line descendants of the common ancestor, L3H1B1A, including other 23andMe customers. So this is some rare DNA too that they saying that I got. So I'm adding to the database. They need more people to get more information on it. But that's a whole nother measure right there. So I wanted to show you all of that. And in closing, with this brother, again, he talking about the Cushites with the same DNA, sub-Saharan Africa, E1B1A, the EV38 on the paternal side. He's speaking of North African origin here, the West affiliated EM2, Northeast African affiliated EM329, V838, all of them, common ancestor, EP2. May have also originated in East Africa. We already showed that. We ain't got to go into it no more. Then he went into the frequencies of the E1B1A M2, Spain, Portugal, which I showed y'all earlier about the slaves, that was taken into those areas. That was Moors, and then they got all these other people, in different nations that's mentioned that's holding these same genes. The Berbers in Morocco, Moroccan Arabs, they got Egyptians, Tunisians, Sudanese, Hosa, the Nubian, Somalis, Ethiopians, that's that E1B1A, M2V, that EV38. You see? And we can go on and on with this right here, family. And this thing, see it, there you go. He talking about it right now. San Jose de los Naturales, that's what I told y'all. Mexico, 1453. West African and South African ancestry. Touchdown before Columbus got here. Portugal, there you go. Gambia, Mauritania, Senegal. Same information I put out here. In Granada, Spain, Muslim Moor of Cordoba Caliphate. You know what I mean? Come on, man. We can't make this stuff up. Here it go again. This is, look, West African, Mandela, Sierra Leone, bearing the sickle cell haplotype, may have migrated into Mauritania, 77% modern rate of occurrence, Senegal, 100%. They may have also migrated across the Sahara into North Africa, and from North Africa into Southern Europe, Turkey. And I actually got a little percentage of some Southern Europe too in there, a little small percentage. See, you got the map up here. If you look at this map right here, people, pick, see the Lemuria right here? In this map, you see the migration pattern going all the way over here. And you see who over here, where they were being took off them slave shit? Let me blow it up just in case people don't see it. See what that say on this map? Moors. That's who was took from here. We come across the Sahel, end up took into slavery. This right here is the tip of the car, the house of slaves. And here I am right now, born, descending from, the ancient Mauritanians and the Moors. You know what I mean? I give honors to this brother for the work that he put in, in connection. He got a lot. He got me want to build my own website up over here like this, family. So how in the world does Noble Drew Ali information that's in this particular portion of the book coincide with the information that has to do with them haplogroups? That's the question I want to know. If he was so wrong. If Noble Drew Ali was wrong, how? How, family? That's what I'm trying to ask. That's what I want to know. How is it impossible for this to be exactly how he said it when they saying the same thing? That's right, brother. Mozabite and Moabite is one of the same people. That's real spill. They're the same people, and that's what we were showing our people. But most people don't know who the Moabites are. Let me go through some of these, Yeah. That's right. Brother say that's why I always be neutral. Everybody just try to control you and tell you what they want you to know, but not what you should know. And that's right, brother. And what I'm doing, I'm trying to show the people the truth. Because most of us, if you take that DNA test, bro, I guarantee you got some of that same blood out of Senegal and Mauritania in you as well. Some of the other people probably got it in them. Most of us do. 9 times out of 10, if you got the EM2 gene that come out of Kemet or Egypt or the Sudan or the Kushite or Tarseti, I'm using all them names so I let you know I know what I'm talking about. Them ones that migrated across West Africa, bro, 9 times out of 10, like we say, your lineage go back to the people who are called, again, as a collective, they was called Moors. Moor is the modern name, actually. They were called the Mari people. Now, in closing, I do want to show you this here because, like I said, before, and I'm finna open, matter of fact, I'm going to drop this link in here too, just in case somebody want to come in here. I'm going to drop the link before I open up this PDF that I want to open up. That way, if somebody want to come in, it's all right. You got disagreements, I'm cool with that. I ain't going to beat you up and kick you off. You seen me and the brother demonstrating last night. He disagreed with a couple of things. You know what I mean? I ain't that type of dude. I don't beef with nobody. As long as you don't get belligerent and go to cussing and all that, we definitely ain't going to have that. But, we can disagree respectfully if you disagree. If you agree, I mean, you can't really go against or debunk evidence that was put out there. unless you just want a buck, But let me show you this real quick while we waiting on anybody that want to come in here and give their input, on this subject that we demonstrate. Let me show you this. This same presentation here I did on our brother Sarnetta channel, a while back. This was before I took my DNA test. A lot of this was compiled before I took the DNA test. See, if we was talking about Cam, as it was a corruption of Ham, I put the correct names up here. The Cush, the Mesra instead of Misraim. The Put, instead of, the other names they use, the Kanana, and so what we find out, what people don't know, like I told them up here, I say the land of Mu in Lemuria or El Moria, hence the term Mori or Mir or Meru, Mero, and more etymologically descends from the M and the R. Can't nobody debunk that. Ain't nobody been able to come up against me because I got too much evidence up here to prove it. I just showed it to you now in the haplogroups. Now I'm showing it to you in the text that they like to try to deal with on the religious aspect. I'm just showing you the names they use that most people look over. So under the Cushites, there were the Meru or the Meroe, which I descend from according to my DNA. You see? These were known as the Sebamors, the Sabah, the Sabians, same people that was also known as Shabah. The Elijah Muhammad called them tribe of Shabazz. We did that. All you got to do is go back to the video on the tribe of Shabazz. If you was here already, you already done made the connection. You see how these different videos I did have led all the way up to this point right here. You comprehend exactly what I'm saying if you was already here. Now, if you got prejudice in you and you don't like what you're hearing because you don't like me coming from this particular degree here, and that's something you got to deal with. But anyway, under the Mesra or the Misraim, there was the Mar and the Mera, which were known as the Hikaptamors, which is another word for what they call Coptic or Egyptian. Coptic and Egyptian is not the original that they was actually the ones who set up civilization in Memphis. Manafa is what we call it in the proper term. You see, so Cam is Ham, the father. He gave birth to Cush. He gave birth to Mesra, Put, and so forth and so on. And he wasn't called a black man like the European like to try to say. The land was called Cam. You see, as far as dealing with black is concerned. But Cam or Kim, a man, didn't have nothing to do with that definition. Even if you go into, certain dictionaries, you'll see that. But anyway, it says Mari or Moor. This is the Puttites in North Africa. They settled in the region that's known as Carthage. They were known as the Enumitic or the Enumitic Moors. Then you have what you call the Mu'aba. I'm just using the word Moor instead of black, so don't get offended because I'm a Moor. And that's how it was used before they started using the word black. So Kanana, the Canaanites, which were the Amari, which is where the Amorites and the Amoru come from. You see, the Amaru is where the prototype of the Fez come from as well. These are the Mu'aba. The Moabites come from here. So this is where your Moors that come through that. So all of these lineages here pretty much have crossed over. Some of their seeds crossed over from East Africa pretty much all the way over into West Africa. All of them had a seed that went there. They spread. They didn't just go into West Africa. They went all over the place. But I'm just telling you according to the haplogroups. Now, when you come up here, now we showed you who Put was. This is one of my sources. All you got to do is go to Google Books. I already showed it to you. Where to go to get information. Put. See who descended from Put? The Libyans and Moors, right? This is a consistent statement being made in most of the writings that come from the 1800s or 17 and 1600s, family. All of them agrees upon this. That's what you call a consensus of scholarship. It says the sons of Ham were Cush, Misraim, Put, Canaan, Josephus writes of the four sons, Ham at the time, it says not at all hurt the name Cush. It says for the Ethiopians over whom he reigned, even at this day, both by themselves and by all men in Asia called Cushites. The memory of the Meserites, it says, is preserved in their name. For all who inhabit this country, called Egypt, Mestre, and Egyptians and Mestres. Put also was the founder of Libya, called the inhabitants Puttites from himself. And there's also a river in the country of the Moors which bears that name, whence we may see that the Grecian historiographers mention that river in the adjoining country by the appellation of Put. So these Puttites and the Moors or Carthaginians or the Labeu, the Meswesh are the same people, family. See what it says too? This is how you know they come up out of there. Right here, this is a Hebrew dictionary. See, I told you Cam is the true word in the language of Hebrew. Then it became Ham. It means hot and warm, not black. It says applicable to the north of Africa, where the Numidians and the dark and swarthy Mauritanians or Moors worship Amun Ra. Didn't I tell you that the Moors paid homage to Amun Ra? Huh? These were the ones, this is before Islam, these were the ones that became known as the Damari. Because the Mari were the high priests of Amun Ra in the first place. That's why you have Moors paying homage to Amun Ra. Amun, the sun, otherwise Jupiter, Amun represented by Cam as well. Huh? Come on, man. We ain't playing with this thing. See? Then it go right here and tell you who Cush was. The Asiatic Cushites. We talking about the divine origin of the Asiatic nation, right? Huh? Who were they? Akkadians, Babylonian, Chaldean, them all our people, family. Stop playing. The original ones was, before they whitewashed them, African Cushites. Or Ethiopia, Seba, Hevelah, Septa, Septeka, Rama. That's that Seba, Shabazz, Mesraim. See? It's talking about Mesraim. This is the capital. And all the sons that come from that. Then you had the Puttites. Knowledge is reason. All these different books right here. It says the letter of the world, the Libyans of North Africa, North Africans, nations. It says the ancient Numidians, Mauritanians, modern Berbers, Kabyles, Tuaregs, and Moors coming from the Puttites. Then you had your Canaanites and so forth and so on. Your Amorites. Same thing I just showed y'all, fam. We can't make this stuff up. Watch this. Like I say, I'm just floating through this thing, to give it to our family. And this is before I took the DNA test that I put this together. This PDF is called Mari. You know what I mean? It's called Mari. And I showed you even how when you go into the rivers, that was called Mari Arabicum, Mari Zanguterus. You see, Mari Ethiopias. Come on, bro. The word mir, when you deal with a harbor, a flood, excretion, we ain't dealing with these symbols because we already know that's hodgepodge. We know that this come from, actual alphabetical language. We ain't dealing with no symbol. So Commission ain't promoting these symbols. Commission know that this right here come from hieratic paper. And I'm going to teach you that when them guys get in this ring with me. I don't know why they keep running. I know why they running. They don't want no smoke. Here's the same map that the brother had. I already had it in my slide. Same slide I brought to Sarnetta. Ain't nobody refuted. They couldn't refute it. I showed them the origin on this word mirror, and how far it went. I even showed them your boy, Ralph Ellis, when he was talking about the word mare and how it represents light. It's an Egyptian word, but they had that same word in there where it say, let there be light, ore, mare. Yeah, that's the word they use. What is light? Amun Ra represented the light. The hidden one. Right there. So it's certain languages that actually have a lot of loan words that come from the ancestors. See, that's the Mesu Ra right there, my depiction of them. I showed all of that right there. Then I quoted our brother G.M. James showing that it was our people that brought the teachers. It was the Moors that took that Egyptian culture across. The way this is all before I took my DNA test, family. You know what I mean? This is all before I took the test right here. Come on, man. We can't make this stuff up. See it right here? Even your boy Gerald Massey tell you. The Egyptian word mir and mar and meru and mu. All of that right there has to do with the term Moor. They were known as the Mari. That's why I tell you Mari is the real actual word that the word Moors come from. But that word Mari can be traced back to Mar in Egyptian. You see, after all the history I just gave you, it's easy to see now. This word Mari also means spirit or breath or spark of life. You know, um, also here's another breakdown on the people, the Moors. You know, Meroi, just like I showed you earlier up there in my breakdown, are Moors. See what I'm saying? Mamarica. Come on, bruh. Stop playing. Etymology is something else when you know what you're doing. When you know how to trace yourself back. These are all different books right here. Ethiopia proper is highly remarkable. Ancient history of the scripture is called Cush, and its kings are distinguished from those of the Mari. The country of these Mari was in very ancient times a great state in the south of Egypt. Its capital, Meroe, the same area where my DNA originates. So there's a Meroe empire that's in relevance in relation to the Moors of the West because they came out of that area. Huh? They're telling you right here, the Mari in very ancient times, a great state in the south of Egypt, its capital Meroe, contrary to the express testimony of the ancients, has generally been placed too near Egypt. It was probably situated in the neighborhood of Sinai. The Meroites had a peculiar kind of civilization, and there can be no doubt that the hieroglyphics and all the afterwards and fine Egyptian civilization originated among them at a very remote time, conquered Egypt. The ancients themselves traced them to the knowledge and religion of the Egyptians, and they describe the monuments as Ethiopian, and all that can be made out by historical inquiry is confirmatory of this view. Right? We almost there, family. You know, this is basically the same thing, but it still goes deep. The same book. I was telling y'all about the Himyarites. You know, it talked about the Egyptians and the Maoris, who appears to be of similarity of language, which is sufficiently curious to those who consider the distance between Egypt and the Pacific, because they are also descendants out there, the Maori people. Let us, however, remember that the ancient ethnic name Mari can be traced from Mari, or the Moors of Mauritania, to the Marhi of the Red Sea, to the Mari of the Luzon, the Murats of Ambonia, and to the Mari of Maori of the Pacific. You see how far the Moors go? Huh? Come on, family. It says the wide distribution of the racial name Maori is the matter of importance which can hardly be exaggerated. Huh? It says the more so when we find it in almost every instance accompanied by equally the ancient territorial name of Sabah. There they go. The Sabah, the Cushites, the tribe of Shabazz that we was talking about the other night. There they go. Remember I told y'all that when I asked the question, the Moors, the tribe of yeah, they the same people. See here? Here's another measure when you get into other languages. The Latin people call them Marusi. And this was their different expression of the name Mari, Mauritania. You see? You had ancient Mauritania and also modern Mauritania. Now watch what they say about the Mari down here. The Mari are said by some authors to have obtained their name Mari from their black or tawny skins, compared with the paler complexions of the southern Europeans. Huh? It says, however this may be, it was certainly the collective appellation used by all tribes of Mauritania and Numidia to distinguish their nation, probably the one by which the remaining people, as far as eastward and Citrius, even the boundaries of Egypt, were once known to each other. They said all of them was calling themselves Mari. I didn't make this stuff up. These books come from the 1800s. They all spoke the same language, used the same customs, adopted the same mode of life. Hence the term Numidae or nomads is applied with as much propriety to the inhabitants of the western eastern provinces for being only deduced, it says, from the wandering habits It says it was never used by themselves in appropriation as the knowledge of the ancients became more extended. The name Nemude is found constantly disappearing before that of Mari. Huh? It seemed that the Carthaginians were unacquainted with the term Nemude, and they called each other the tribe of the Mari. So the Carthaginians was called by the same name, family. Even when you come down here and deal with the kingdom of Algiers, the proper general names of the Mari and Mauritania remain only to the territory bordering the Atlantic. You know, so like, I mean, bro, these, come on now, these all telling you the same thing. There we go again right there, even in the Hebrew. We just showed you your boy Ralph Ellis talking about it. Here it is right here. That's Mari in the Hebrew language, or Mauritania. Huh? See what they say, Mauritania, an ancient kingdom of Africa, bounded on the west by the Atlantic, on the south by Jutilia, Libya, in the interior on the north by the Mediterranean, and comprehending the greater part of the kingdoms of Fez and Morocco. Its ancient limits are not exactly mentioned by any historian. This country was originally inhabited by a people called Mari. Huh? Concerning the etymology, which names authors are not agreed, it says from Jerusalem and Targum, it appears to be a part of the Mari, maybe deemed the offspring of Lud, the son of Mizraim. Huh? Egypt. His descendants, mentioned Genesis chapter 10, are called Mari, or Mauritani. It said it's certain that this region, as well as others east of it, had many colonies planted in it by the Phoenicians. You know, come on, man. Come on, this is overkill right here. I can do this all night. I can do this all night right here, family. Another source telling you the same thing. The ancient inhabitants of Mauritania were called Mari. Let me blow this up a little bit more. From which the word, the modern name of Moor is derived. So stop letting people lie to you and tell you the word Moor came from Europeans. It came from the native inhabitants, the ancient inhabitants of Mauritania. It derived from Mari. Only thing changed with the vowels that was used in the middle. And this name Mari we showed you come from Kemet, the high priest of Anu. Mari, Maori, Amin Ra, whatever you want to, Mari, Mar. Come on, bruh. Their origin is uncertain. According to Jewish tradition, they were the offspring of Lud, the son of Mizraim, whose descendants are called Mari in the scriptures. Bro, shouts out again to, Dana Reynolds and all of them. See, I was telling y'all about the people in the desert known as the Nile Valley, dealing with the Libu, in Libya, and it goes into the history of the Libyans and so forth and so on. And it basically tell you down here at the bottom of this page. I ain't gonna read it all. Rome's occupation of North Africa is covered in detail by Susan Raven, 1993. It was on the Roman rule, and that the names of Numidia and Mauritania derived from the local tribes, not the Romans. The tribes acquired territorial meaning. The term Moor is derived from Mari. So start correcting these people when they keep telling you it came from the Romans. No, the name Moor comes from Mari, people. How many times do I have to say that? Now, some people that want to hate, they're going to keep believing the lie after all these sources I'm putting up here, right? You know what I mean? We can go on and on with this here. See, it's talking again right here about Ethiopia, and it's saying that no river on the sea in the Nile, but there are other Ethiopians who dwell near Mari, the Mari. Right here is telling you here the Hamite name that has become Hebraicized for it, Berber nomenclature, Pharusians, Marusians, Mari. Come on, man. All these different sources. And then they want to hate when I tell them that Amin and Amin Ra represents Mar. I don't care what nobody else told you outside of that. Here it is again. Now, this is the Damari that I was telling y'all about. Now, check them out. The Damari of North Africa, look what they got on their head. They look like Pleistocene Kemites right there, but they got the Atef crown on their head, family. This is Amen, the chief god. See the Demari and the Depatri? Demari actually mean Moorish gods, by the way. There's no doubt that Corippus believed Amen to be the chief god of the tribe of Moors. Huh? So Amen is being paid homage to. Amen Ra also got that scimitar too. You see him up there with the Kafesh, not the Kapresh, as Smash is Kafesh, like I tried to tell him and he got upset. So Mirwir is the oldest bull deity of Kemet, and they called this the Black Bull. Kemmir, or Mor, or Mar, Kemar. These are all the different sound shifts they use. They call it the Black Bull. The Mari Moors had their veneration of the bull as well. It was a version of Amen in certain measure. Scholars have attached the name Mari or Moor to this deity as well. Come on, bro. You can't get away from this. You can't do the same thing I'm doing with this word Moor with the word black. And we ain't trying to beat nobody up, but you can't do it. Because black is an English word. This word Moor come from the English and stretch all the way into Kemet. It go into Sumeria. It go into Mesopotamia. It go into everywhere. It go into India, and they all refer to the same people. How can you defeat that? Huh? Come on, man. There we go. Demari, the Moorish gods, men that are mentioned in the Latin inscriptions of North Africa, who were almost never named. They were supposed to be the sorceries of redemptory immortals, immortal and the Augusti exalted, Moorish gods, the Demari. I'm telling you, family. And then right here, we were talking about the Moabites. Didn't I tell you they came up out of here and went all the way over there? Them your Moabites, your Moabites that came up out of that region, fam. We can't come. Oh, man. Let me go ahead and pull this down to the bottom. You know, here's another one here. Dealing with the Phoenicians. You know, the Mahurim, the Mari from the Phoenicians, furthest people, Mari, it says, for after the Mari came the Western Ocean. That's Charles Athen, 1838. So there's a connection between Phoenicians, because the Phoenicians are the ones who established Carthage. Also being connected to the Canaanite and the Moabite lineage. The oldest Ibero-Maurusian. When we go over here, we deal with the Jaber Uhud, 300,000 years ago, settled over here in the same area. This is what scientists just found out recently. But they even said it in my DNA thing. It pointed over them coming up out of the Sudan and then migrating over here. Y'all seen what it showed in my DNA markers. I did this before I got the DNA test, though. I was already teaching this. Huh? Come on, man. So basically, you know, after all this information right here, you know, one would be a fool to try to go in opposition. I even showed the Middle Kushites of India. See, they got the fez on their head with the pharaonic shinty from Kemet on them. That's coming straight up out of Kemet. That's what they looked like when they went into India. Them Kushites went over there into India. They were wearing Kemetic shinties, and they was wearing that red fez. You see that red fez right there on his head? We can't make this stuff up, family. These are the original Hinduist Kushites. The one that look like us. And don't let me pull up all them. Don't let me go off in my archives and pull them out and show you them. See right here? The Meru name. That's why it was a sacred mountain known as Mount Meru. And pretty much the Nile Valley civilization, and one known over there in the area of India. In Africa anyway. It says North Africa were known as Moors, and the Moorish derogatory name meaning dark. It says think moonlight. They came from Moroccan cities such as Marak. It says meaning the land of God. And Mauritania, both located beneath the Atlas Mountain and range of Egypt. It says the way word for the dark and was likely taken from these dark people belief in Meru, corresponding with the Egyptian root. Let me blow that up. M and R, for those who think I made it up. They saying the same thing that the other author said. We can say the same about Meru as the name in India, the Mauryan Empire. They were also known, the Mauryan Empire founded by Ashoka, that Prophet Noble Drew Ali teach about. Yes, they were called Moors too. Go look it up. The Mauryan Empire was known as Moors, family. You see what I'm saying? This is here. It's out here. This information out here, family. This information is out here. You see what I'm saying? I even got my link here to the. Let's see if it's gonna open up the original Sumerians. This is your boy right here. Smash. See it right here? See it right here? He's saying it come from the Romans. It's Latin. He wrong. It came from the people that were there themselves. You see what I'm saying? So we just killed all of that right then. You see, all of that other stuff is assumption and Eurocentric information being regurgitated, basically. And they accepted it as that because they want to accept it that way, because they hate the Moors so much. See this Libyan right here with that feather on his head? Man, that's the same type of headdress Noble Drew Ali got on. Huh? Right here too. Y'all do know that there was some Libyans that married, that Ramesses basically had some seeds from. See, that's a whole nother measure. So like I said, family, and these are the last ones right here. This is basically the end of it. And this brings us back to square one. We showed you the Moabites. And listen to what it say. If you ever seen, see that right there? I've been doing this. Moabites, the ancient Maori. This Tavnik script is the same script that they used on the movie Black Panther, by the way. By at least 2 centuries, Salois describes the indigenous inhabitants of North Africa as the Getulians and Libyans, both nomadic hunting gathering cultures. He goes on to say that their culture later mixed with a wave of sea migrants, Canaanites and Phoenicians. The new mixed centers, it says, then began contacts with the Iberian Peninsula and became ancestors of the historic Maori, Moors, and Numidians. So when Noble Drew Ali said that the Canaanites and the Moors derived from the Canaanites, and then he said the Moabites, their descendants today are the Amazigh, the Mozabite, and the Tarega, who live in the scattered communities across Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Mali, Niger, and Mauritania. What did Prophet Noble Drew Ali just say? What did Prophet Noble Drew Ali say in the book of Ali? He said the Egyptians, who were the Hammatites, a direct descendant of Mizraim, Arabians, seed of Hajar, Japanese and Chinese, Hindus of India, descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites and Moabites from the land of Canaan, the Asiatic nations in the countries of North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans, and the Mexicans in North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, Chileans, South America, and Colombians and Nicaraguans, and natives of San Salvador and Central America. All of these are Muslims. Then he said the Turks are the true descendants of Hajar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad I, the founder of the Union of Islam, by the command of the great universal God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, when it comes to the information that he had, he knew something. Because even though we didn't have DNA, this brother was on point in everything he said. Put some respect on his name. Stop playing. You see, I'm just backing him up with the information. That's all I'm doing. I'm backing him up. He don't even need me to back him up, but I'm backing him up. In the last slides here too, here's another measure right here. You know, Mauritania supports the population of 25. Well, that's actually 2,500,000, and 40% of what is mixed, more African more African, 30% more, 30% African people belonging to these groups are found throughout the country. Groups of Moorish, Gauchi, and people of the Canary Islands also found in Mauritania, and they break all the groups of Mauritania down by other names they known by, the Zanaga people, all that, but they still known as more Africans, Mars family. Even in the Hebrew right here, this is the oldest Bible before King James, the Geneva Bible. You see the word they were using in here when they talked about Amalek, the black Moor. When they talked about Jeremiah, they call him also the Moorish prophet. See this right here? Before they were using the word black in a lot of dictionaries, they used the word Moorish and Moor. You can't do this right here. Here it is again. This is actually some more from the 1599 Geneva Bible. You see that? Can the black Moor change his skin and the leopards and the spots? It's 4 to 1611 King James now. King commanded Abdel-Melech the black Moor. Jeremiah 38, 10, 38, 12, 38, 19, 16. Same thing. This was in the original book before King James now. Here we go right here again. The definition of the name Moor from Alden's Manifold Encyclopedia of Knowledge and Language, 1890. Google Books, family. Google Books. Moor, Marus, inhabitant of the eastern part of Africa. Marus, Moorish, black. Mar, cold, dust. Mare, Moor, a native of Africa, called by the ancient Romans Mauritania. From the color of the people, the word meaning literally country of the dark complected people, one of the people from Africa, of Arabic descent, followers of Muhammad. So they actually applied the title to also the Arabs, and that's why y'all confused now. The Europeans did that. The Arabian prophet who conquered Spain in 8th, see the Moors below Moorish and the people that are called Moors. This is European now. This is the work of Ivan Van Sertima right here. The name Moray has been said was first used as one of several dozen black tribes that occupied North Africa even before Christian. The tribe itself included several clans: the Mari Mazasis, the Mari Boreris, the Mari Bogda, the Mari Gitani. It is one of these clans. It says the Baris are the Barbaries, whose name was frequently amended to Barbaries or Berbers of the ancient Roman text. Claudian, prominent Roman of 4th century AD, complained about Gildo, the Moorish ruler in Algeria, claiming that in handing over Roman matrons of Sidon to fellow Moorish countrymen, he made a hideous Ethiopian hybrids, affright the craters of the Roman provinces of North Africa. They talking about mixed breed. You know what I mean? Then it went on. It says one of the culprits he names in this regard are the Berbers. Gildo himself was one of the Barbaries. It says in the use of the term Berber in this paper would thus be for the original indigenous North Africa, known simultaneously as Moors and Ethiopians, who were the wandering Libyans, Puttites, Meswesh, Lebu, spoken of by Herodotus, descendants of Danaeus and the black Danandies. It says in early Greek writers. You see what I'm saying? So this is a very old book. This is coming from Adam Anderson, Chronological Deduction Commerce from the earliest account, 1787, page 260. Ancient Mauritania, from whence the word Moor, which we write Moor, is derived, the proper country of the Moors. He goes into a breakdown on, I ain't gonna read all that because I'm trying to close it out. You know, I'm actually at the end of these little slides, but I got to do it to death right now. Just not even play. I ain't even playing at this time. If you go against all of this right here, you know it is what it is. Mari, the Moors and Mauritanians, inhabitants of Mauritania. Marus, Moor, hence the Moors are Mauritanian. Mauritania, country of Africa, coast of the Mediterranean between the Atlantic Ocean and Numidia. Modern Fez and Morocco, divided into Mauritania. Come on, bro. Mar-Asia or Marussia. Marussia, the Greek name of Mauritania. Marusi. Come on, man. This is Latin Dictionary, 1872, page 370, right? You want to know where it come from, this Mauritania here. Ancient division of North Africa. Originally, northwest angle, continent between the Atlas Mountains, Mediterranean, of which Morocco forms a part before Roman conquest. It included the territory of East Algiers. Inhabitants named the Mari may have been of Berber origin. Their name has been perpetuated in that of the Moors. The New Learned History, page 5500 in 1923. You know what I mean? Mari, Moors, Numidians. Like, come on, bro. This was the common thing. This was the one I just read earlier, but this is the actual picture of the Damari too here. Look at him up there. Look at him. You see the sister up there. The Damari, Moorish gods now. Where did they get their hairstyle from? Straight out of Kemet. Y'all better stop playing, man, with the ancestors, man. Then we got inventing the Berbers, which shows you what the Arabs gave the word Berber and replaced it. Replaced the word Moor with Berber. That's why that stuck today. This is way from back in the days. The book's so old, it's like 1600s or 1500s. It's written in Latin, but you still can see that word though. Moor and Mar. Ethiops, which is another word, Ethiopians. Niger, which the Europeans say nigga. You know what they say. Moor again. Moor here again. Morium, the land of Ethiopia, Africa. Moor man. So they equated the word Ethiopia with Moor, in these books from the 1600s. You know what I mean? This word got too much history, family, for you to try to throw it away and act like you don't know what it means. Didn't I tell you the people of India also use that name? Maru or Moor of Europe, Moor of the Indian Jats. This is India now. The Hindu is Kushite, the Mauryas of Ashoka. Significantly, Egyptians have put it on record that the people of the Amaru, didn't I tell you? The Amorites came from the land of Jajati, the land of the Guts, or Gutum. The ancient Sumerians and Babylonians and Assyrians. They all go to that same root. You heard it first here, folks, and these are the last ones here. This is actually an English dictionary etymology. It shows you more and more means dark. Old German, which is more, Mari, more, Moro, Mora, more, 6th century. English, more, Moray, Mari, Moro, more. Also Mohir. You see that on a lot of the crests that you find in England. The Moorish family crest, Mari. So, I ain't got to go through it, family. All them words come from one root, which is more. Let me blow that up for the people that might not be able to see it. You see that? These are all dictionaries, family, different dictionaries from different time periods. If you go against that, you're a hater. And the truth ain't in you. So again, Mauritania was was northwestern province of Africa and derived its name from the inhabitants Mari. The Greeks at first called the people Marusi and the country Marussia, in which they were followed by some Latin poets, but they afterward adopted the proper appellations Mari and Mauritania. They took that name from the natives, fam. They didn't come up with it. And this is the last slide right here. The Marussia, another name for the Mari, or ancient Moorish race. So when we talk about the Moors being descendants of the ancient Canaanites and Moabites and being the Asiatics that they are, when you come back to this video, if you see it again and you didn't see it from the beginning, you can't deny this. I showed you with the haplogroups and the DNA chains. I showed you with maps. I showed you with some archaeology. I showed you through etymology. If you can't be convinced, I ain't saying you got to be no more. I'm just telling you where my DNA come from. But I did all of this before I took the DNA test. And that was tracing the information that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was demonstrating. Put some respect on his name. I'm done now. Let me see if there's anybody up here that want to give a little measure before I close out. You know, if somebody was there, pardon me as well, because I had to get that off. But yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful. I want to give honors to all our family here again, just for sitting here. This is what we doing, you know, and we're gonna keep bringing you this truth, family. You know, they done started something now. You know, I'm gonna keep flooding y'all with this information. You know what I mean? I ain't study all this stuff. And that's the thing. They thinking that I just came up recently and started doing. I've been doing this 30 years, family. Same time, just like I'm up 4 o'clock. I was up 4 o'clock last night. Actually, I was up 7 o'clock yesterday. 7 o'clock in the morning. 8 hours on it. Because I love my people and I'm trying to teach them. I ain't trying to make you build more. I'm just giving you the history so you'll know who we are. You can be whatever you want to be. I'm just giving you our history because that's what I represent. Not to make you a more. If you knew better, you already know that's what you are anyway. And that's the only name that's going to attach us to this land and allow us to take it because they already admitted to it in their records, and we got them records. That's why the name Moor is so important. It goes beyond a religion. It go beyond just the Moorish Science Temple. It go beyond saying, hey, I'm a Moor. The name attach you to the land. What they be trying to do with this Abo and this Native American, you know, trying to get, you know, land and all that, you can already have it under the name Moor if you embrace it. You embrace the name nigger, and that's derogatory. You embrace every other name they give you, but some reason they taught you to hate the name that will free you and give you power. And you keep letting these people convolute the information that'll free you. And you running with it because you ain't did the research. But after the night, it's on our people if they be honest or not, or they be disingenuous about what I just presented to them. Now, we can go on about our business and be mad, you know, if we want to, because we got some people that's upset because they probably got beat up by some Moors in knowledge. And they ain't never got over it. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm your brother. I'm here to try to bridge the gaps, not to make you a Moor. I'm here to give you the knowledge that I studied, and I ain't even charging you for it. I give it freely, and don't mind giving it freely. A lot of this stuff that I'm doing now, people get paid hundreds of dollars for lectures of this, and I don't ask for a dime. You don't never hear me on here begging because I work for what I receive. I don't need to try to fleece my people. I just want my people to know the truth. And I deal with it unbiasedly. I'm a Moor, but I love my Hebrew family. You feel me? I'm a Moor, but I love all my family. You feel me? So, yes, sir, Brother Terrence, you right. You was up with me. And you said the right thing, brother. Go on to bed, brother. That's what you told me. Go on, lady. This dude right here playing. You know, you right. And that's what it boiled down to. A lot of people like to convolute the measure and not get the information. And you seen I was trying to get a brother Olive Branch. He may be on here now. You know what I mean? He can come back on here. But the thing is, we got to stop looking for a reason to beef with each other. If I'm telling you that the measure that I'm bringing is to bring unity, you know, and we look for a reason to beef with each other based upon maybe that we don't agree with the information, or maybe that we think that somebody should say something that we believe. You know what I mean? We got to get out of that mindset because all of us have the right to think freely, brother. None of us are slaves to the intellect of each other. You know, we here just trading information. But the whole key is it, even when we get to debates, going back and forth in a debate and not having anything to stand upon after that is a waste of time. Debating just for the sake of debate and not coming to terms of unity is a waste of time. But I stand up, and go to bat for my people just so that they can see the truth. If we got some people among us that want to be fake and phony and false and try to be a bully with the little information they got, oh, I'm your brother. I'll be your huckleberry. Brother Commissioner, deal with them for you. Because I know they standing in the way of the door of freedom. They want to be gatekeepers. Half of them took oaths. They can't talk freely like I'm talking. Because they took oaths that if they say what I say, they'll get their tongues tore out. Their bowels ripped from the inside and thrown to the ravenous beasts of the field. I ain't took no oath like that. So when I talk like this, it make them uncomfortable. Because they know they can't speak as freely as I do. Because they took them oaths. I know that's who it is that's attacking me. I know who it is. You feel me? Because they feel like what I'm giving y'all is too much and it don't supposed to be for the public. But I'm going to keep giving y'all the truth. And y'all keep taking them oaths and paying them dues to the European and Rome. We real adepts over here. So that being said, since nobody ain't came up in here, I dropped the link. I'm going to go ahead and close this demonstration out so we can all get some rest. But y'all be sure to like, share, and subscribe, because it's on. I'm telling you, bro, I'm going to keep flooding this thing, with this information. Like I say, whatever you do, it's on you what you do with this information. I'm just putting it out here. I ain't looking for no converts. I ain't trying to get no people to follow. That ain't even I'm just trying to teach my people, man. I'm trying to show you where we won at too. But I can't do it if you got a prejudice in your mind and you think that I'm your enemy because somebody say the Moors took us into slavery. Well, y'all need to get on their head next time y'all hear them say that. Because I done showed you who the Albion is. And I done showed you who really enslaving our people. But the European did a number on us, brother. They tear your culture down and build it back up, and then next thing you know, they call it theirs. Gratitude and honors to you, brother Terrence, the great brother. You didn't have to do that, good brother. But it's all love. It's all love, brother. Appreciate the blessing. Like I say, man, I love my people. I want to see us unite, man. We ain't got time to keep fighting and going back and forth over nothing, man. Religious gang banging, political gang banging. It's tearing our culture. And then the babies that's trying to learn, they can be grown, but they babies if they don't know what we know. We get up going back and forth and we go to arguing with each other. They looking at us like these Negroes is crazy as wheels. What I want to go in there and study and listen to them for? They cussing each other out, talking about killing each other. I don't never get into that type of, you'll never see me go back and forth like that. But I had a couple of people cuss me out. For some reason, I bring that part up out of them. But, it's just an honor, family, to be here in this time and lay this foundation. Because who don't get it now? The young and not born gonna get it. The young generation that's coming behind us, somebody gonna get it. Just like I was inspired by those who came before me, we inspire each other. So I want to give honors to everybody that's here. We're going to go to the top again, brother Terrence the Great, brother James Davis, honors to you. True Nobles Entertainment, man, y'all keep showing up, man. Y'all cool, Gamma Bay, brothers from London, you know what I mean? Gabri, honors to your family. It's all love. So let me play this track right here. And like I said, we're going to lay down. Let me do I got him over here trying to run ads again, family.
I'm a stepper, I'm a slider, I'm all in. For my people, I'm a rider, I'm all in. I'm done imperial provider until the end. And I put it on my family ties, I'm destined to win. I'm a stepper, I'm a slider, I'm all in. For my people, I'm a rider, I'm all in. I'm done imperial provider until the end. And I put it on my family ties, I'm destined to win. Generational wealth, it brings freedom of death. But this is holy breath, so I'm freeing myself. I got knowledge of self and a hell of a breath. Keep a positive vibe, strategic when I step. You went against the grain and you slandered my name. Betrayed our sacred trust and brought us both shame. I'm talking pure pain. How could you envy me? I was my brother's keeper. How could you do this me? I heard your solid hits and all that sneak dissing. This is God's plan. You plotted but you missed me. So as I unfold, witness my success. I'm a phoenix in flight, fearless in the face of death. So while I'm still here, I'ma apply this pressure. I know these devils jealous, and my enemies are zealous. I keep my head on the swivel, even though I'm really careless. The scimitar's for the beast, so don't get beheaded. I'm a stepper, I'm a slider, I'm all in. For my people, I'm a rider, I'm all in. I'm done imperial provider until the end. And I put it on my family ties, I'm destined to win. I'm a stepper, I'm a slider, I'm all in. For my people, I'm a rider, I'm all in. I'm done imperial provider until the end. And I put it on my family ties, I'm destined to win. Whatever happened to the love we open enemies? My only vision of unity's vivid memories. I used to feel that the struggle was the bond that made us brothers. Why must we fight on each other? In the end, we all suffer. Crabs in the trap, falling by climbing, reaching for freedom. But our future seeds are dying young, it's a shortage of leaders. I just buried my comrade, and he used to serve the people. Then I watched the people betray him and justify the evil. Even though the angels are present, demons are in the skies. They contemplating on my demise, and this I can't deny. My ministry of death is immortal love divine. The infinite will of Allah in the seventh of the time. Last of a dying breed, but I'm willing to sacrifice. Yeah, these are trying times of affliction, many stripes. Every passion of my life is to be a living legend and lead my people to liberation, cause I was destined.
Peace and love, family. See y'all, man, at the next phase. We love you.